All right, everybody. Hey, Angela jumped right on.
I'm
Uh,
here.
welcome everybody back, and we are live again. And I want to remind everybody that in about 45 minutes, Aurelia Casey's panel discussions begin. The romance. Hey, there's Jen. The romance portion. The first panel is romance, which I believe Mr. Jen is on. Are you on that one as well, Angela?
Which one is this? The memoir discussion?
No, this is romance. Is the first one at 11.
I will not be. No.
So Jen is definitely on that. So you definitely want to check that out.
I am.
Okay. So that'll happen in about 45 minutes, everybody. So you want to check that out. Facebook's got some takeovers going on right now. And also, I want to mention Cover Wars and the Character Tournament are both live, and voting is open right now. So you can go to both of those. I'll post the link for the Character Tournament on the Brain the Books Facebook right now, so that everybody in Facebook land can bring it in. So and vote. The first round is going on, and as there's Karina, as predicted. Hey, hang on. I see you in the corner there. Let me say one thing. I just want to give everybody a live results update, and that's no surprise to anybody that Sydney Schneider's Draken is crushing Jack Casey, my character, right now, which, I'm probably the lone soul that voted for Mr. Casey, but I'm getting slaughtered. But no surprise, because her characters are amazing, and I would be very shocked if Ian Troy didn't come out of this thing defending his title. But yes, here she is, everybody. Angela, go ahead.
Hello, go Ian. I am a huge Ian fan. I just want to say that it worked. As in, when I posted YouTube over to the Facebook, it's there. So this is supposed to be the opening ceremony that spans the entire social media. I'm going to post it right now over on Twitter.
Awesome.
But it's astounding, because now we have people in from Google+. We have people in from Facebook now who can arrive at the takeover event, and they can just push play right on that platform and watch our opening ceremonies. So everyone, be impressive.
Hopefully the takeovers, because when the takeovers really start getting going here, they may overwhelm the feed. So just be.
Oh no, I pinned it.
Yeah, well, just be aware, folks, that no, I'm not talking about it going down in the thing, but once they start playing the video, everything else will slow down in Facebook. So just be aware that you may get bombarded. So just be careful out there when you're. Be cautious and enjoy. Mr. Jin, I don't know if you saw when Angela held up her book, but Angela has decreed that anytime that anybody holds up their book to their face, that would mean that I have to move over to them so that they can speak. So there he goes. You have the floor, Mr. Jin. Go for it.
All right. I just wanted to say, for Cover Wars, I actually enjoyed it for what I got to do. So I didn't mean to interrupt the heavy conversation, but yeah, I'm gonna self-plug here a little bit. You please come to the romance panel. Just for the simple sense of trying to see that there's more than just the popular romances out there, and that there's people like me who are actually trying to see romance from a different point of view. In a way, more mental than physical. That's what I wanted to say. My 2 cents. Which way do you want to take this, Joe?
Well, this is open, so I'm just keeping people informed of what's going on at the time. So you guys were talking about beta readers, so why don't we check that out? You want to
Okay.
start, Jin?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, like going back to my book, so the first version that came out, and I was trying to find beta readers for it, and even then after it was printed, and trying to find any readers for it to help me, improve it or anything, I would get messages as I know that kind of topic already. I know exactly what you've written. I know this. I know that about your genre, and other people, just going, brushing off indie writers just because they feel it's the same thing over and over and over again. And I need to take a short break because my cat's at the door. Let me let him in.
I love it. One moment, my life has to stop for the cat. I have that.
That can only happen live.
Yep. Now I want to say that I had somebody came back to me and reported, oh, it's a kitty. I see cats and I just completely go stupid. So now I'm like, you love Blizzard, but you love Blizzard. Where's the kitty? Okay, focus. They had recommended my indie book. They had disability. Okay. I'm really gonna get my stuff together here. I see cats and I just go stupid.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned my book Broken to somebody, and they were really fascinated with the subject, and they were into it. And this person tacked on she's an indie author, and I'm like, Broken just was a finalist for an award. And it really, there is a derogatory
It's a stigma. It's a stigma.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Karina. Yes, it is a stigma,
okay.
And I feel like we have that. That's one of those obstacles that we are absolutely up against immediately, and
We're going to be fighting this all the time.
Yeah. I actually refrain from mentioning it because it doesn't matter how the book was published. It really doesn't matter. And a musician doesn't walk up and say, yeah, I'm an indie musician. A filmographer doesn't walk up and say, I'm an indie movie producer. They just say, I'm a movie producer.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm a writer. I'm an author. It doesn't matter how my books get to you. They're here. And I mean, huge quality and story stand on its own. And that's really all that should matter.
Yeah.
That's right. Unfortunately, it doesn't. I'm proud to be indie. Anyone asks, I'll shout it, and if they don't ask, I'll tell them. But there is a stigma, and people just don't give indie books a chance because they weren't going through an editor. That's all they're worried about. That either the person can't write or it's going to be full of mistakes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how good your book is. You're an indie author. That's it. The stigma's there, and they just don't want to know.
Yeah.
I want to cut in here, so I kind of flashed my book.
Yes, flash your book.
And thank you, Angela, for starting that. I'm really grateful to you.
It's Lord of the Flies all over again.
It's one of my favorite books.
So the reason why I wanted to cut in because we were talking beta readers this, and Karina, that's your name, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. She made a great point that they want the editor, and I've seen this, and not just from regular readers, but also from other indie published authors who are making it big, and they have massive blogs, and you sit there and go, well, can I get a shout out? Can I get a read? Can I get a review? Something? And they'll sit there and go, well, first of all, tell us the name of your editor, and to compare so there's that sense of it there, and then like on my blog, and if you go again to my booth, you'll see that I have a contest up where I will put people on blog spots, on my author spot for 2 weeks. I don't care what you write. I don't care what genre. I will read whatever gets put in front of me, and I will put you on my blog because I'm not arrogant enough to say that my readers only like my stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's beautifully said.
And the thing is, though, you'll get other writers who have gotten big who will say, no, my blog is for my readers and they expect my stuff or my genre only. When it's so demeaning to the reader to say that you're only interested in one genre.
Exactly.
So that's what I want to say.
Very cool. It makes a lot of sense. I think it's just like you mentioned. Musicians don't call themselves indie or anything like that, Angela. And I think that point that Jin just made is the reason why. Because if they pigeonhole themselves as indie, that's a genre within the music business.
It is, isn't it?
that got stigmatized by certain people saying this is an indie thing to do.
Yeah.
And that's not. There are so many labels out there that are their own self-financed labels, and so many artists that are a part of that labeling that would be considered indie. They're not on Columbia Records or any big labels. There aren't those anymore. The music industry got diluted by big labels, and I think the same revolution is starting to happen in the publishing business. Yeah. The big five are really reeling in and holding on to that little niche that they have that they've held on to for so long and kept so many people out, and we're starting to overwhelm. The revolution is coming, and I think with the music industry is a perfect example of how you do it. And I'll tell you, if you look at like some artist playlists on iTunes, if you've done that before, if you look at that, you'll see that they all have different genres of music and different influences, and I think the same can be said. I think you're naive if you think that your readers only read one way. That's not the case, because we were all influenced by something in our past, and it could be something that's totally unrelated to what we feel now, but it was because of those moments that we relived in our lives that brought us to our evolution as a person and what we listen to or what we watch now.
I agree.
All right, there we go. You're on, Karina.
What you were just saying now, because I started off writing thrillers, mainly outlaw motorcycle thrillers, and most of my readers in my fan page and on my blog and whatever, they were bikers or ex-bikers. Now, the book wasn't written for bikers, and anybody can read it and enjoy it. But then I was worried because I wrote this fantasy, and I have this brand as a motorcycle chick, as ex-rock singer, whatever, and I suddenly wrote this romantic fantasy, and I'm thinking, are my fans going, are they going to go off because I've wrote something different? But exactly what you said, people don't just read one genre. And
not anymore.
A lot of my readers that have read my series, my motorcycle outlaw series, have actually enjoyed and read Illusion of Reality and enjoyed it. So, but I had that fear that I was going to lose fans and lose my readers because I moved over to another genre, but that wasn't the case.
I'm going to give a huge shout out to somebody right now who probably is not watching, but this is a perfect example of my personal taste and what I've learned about expanding my horizons, and that is I read this book called Love Him Back, which is a book by Chris Nicole. It's a military romance novel. It's something that I would never, if I looked on the shelf, if I read the back cover, if somebody told me what the genre was, or I would have cringed and not picked it up and read it. But I'm going to tell you right now, the book surprises you. It jumps in and changes your perception of romance, and I think that's why
make a good story.
Yeah, I think that's why people have to give everything a chance, because you never know. I mean, I'm not a big fantasy guy. I was actually having this conversation with somebody the other night about why I don't particularly care for fantasy books, but if they went this direction, I think I would be more engaged by them. But you know, it doesn't stop me from trying to find that one that does go that direction. And I think every genre within its own genre has something for somebody who wouldn't normally pick up that genre. And I think that's the important thing about that, you know.
Well, see, that's what I want to say here. You know, when we were talking about romance, and me and Angela were talking about the different genres of romance inside, and the ideas of approaching romance in a new way. You know, it's just so many people, in my opinion, that have seen books get big. And this goes back to even before the current publishing system. When you go back, you know, to when I was a child and growing up in Santa Barbara, and all the way up through the 90s, you get this whole idea of the sexy romance, you know, the take me away romance genre was blooming. And that's where you get all those covers as well. And when I was designing my new cover, I started comparing all these romance covers. It was just, I was inundated with just the same cover over and over and over again. It's different bodies.
I agree with you on that. Yeah. It's like you say, you've got the soppy happy ever after romance, and a lot of readers want that soppy romances. They enjoy reading like that. But with mine, I just talk about real life, and real life isn't candy floss and, you know, sweetheart chocolates. You know, it's gritty. It's hard. It's violent. It's not all happy ever after. Sometimes you're stuck with a person. You have no choice over the matter, and you eventually fall in love with them. But I'm done with soppy romances. I like to read true to life ones that are more reality than
what's it? More real than real.
Yeah, reality and not, I would say not fiction, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I would agree. And it's just the approach. And I heard this from someone else a couple of days ago, who I ended up unfriending on Facebook because we were fighting over my blurb, and eventually she wanted more and more and more of the story to be on the blurb, and that's just not what a blurb is supposed to be.
Yeah.
A blurb is supposed to be a teaser.
A teaser,
not the whole
exactly.
synopsis. So, and she didn't even know about play on words and stuff like that, and I eventually got angry and I said, you know what? You know, you have a narrow view of words. And yes, I was being a dick and I was being rude, but I was frustrated of having the same argument for 6 hours. And then she said, well, I think you just insulted me on purpose. And I said, yeah, well, get a thesaurus. And then I just unfriended her. And yes, I was being a dick and I crossed the line, but it's that whole, if I hadn't, she probably would have talked me into having a synopsis as my blurb.
Yeah.
Versus anything else.
Big mistake.
And yeah, it's a big mistake. And the only reason why she would have probably talked me into it is because from my position in the publishing world now, and where she is, I can say she's a made author, because you know her living comes from her books.
Oh, I wish that was my way. I can only dream of one day doing that, you know. For now, it's.
But you know,
I'm lucky if I get a sale a day, you know, or one book a day sale. But I wish it was more than that, and I don't know what else more to do. I'm doing everything I can to live off my books, but you know, there's so much competition. There's so many. You're being blocked, like with Facebook and Amazon.
Yeah.
They got absolutely massive because of us indie authors, and now they're actually trying to push us out.
Yeah.
And so we're just getting blocked with walls everywhere we go now.
Yeah.
And I blame this for, you know, a lot of authors just did it because they wanted to see their name in print, they wanted a book published. But that's stopping us authors that take it seriously and want to actually get their book out there. It's not just about making money, it's about people reading their book. But like I said before, it's the stigma attached to us now because of these authors that that published one book that got really bad reviews because it was so badly edited and that they couldn't write to begin with, and that put the stigma on us.
Yes, yes,
and
well said. Perfect, beautifully said. That's exactly. I did a whole article based on just that point. When Amazon opened that floodgates, there was a massive, and I'm going to call it the Harry Potter syndrome. It's if I write a really awesome book and put it out there, I'm going to be the next J.K. Rowling. And then we had Twilight come up, we had Divergent come up, and these fantastic authors just put their information out there, and they are the exception. They are absolutely a fluke. It really is a fluke. And everyone came along, well, not everyone, but there were so many wannabe rich that said, I'm going to do this with books. And they threw something together, posted it on Amazon when Amazon opened that floodgates and said, hey, everyone come publish. And suddenly we had this massive push with poor quality, unedited, 50-page books. And I'm going to say it, for the readers, I'm saying it. They got angry, and justifiably so. I was one of them. When I first got my Kindle, I opened it up and went, wow, look at all the free books. And I downloaded over 50 for free. There was a reason why they were all free. And I was just so horrifically, I was frustrated. And when my first impression was, this is indie authors, I was right there with the stigma. And then I realized that they're not indie authors. They're not authors. They were wannabe rich.
No, they're not.
And,
they're not.
Yeah, exactly. And an indie author does embrace that passion for story, for editing, for quality. It is a massive, and I'm going to scream this to the world, there is a massive respect to the reader when you edit your work, when you take time to really bring that quality up. It is just disrespectful to a reader to not bother. And
I agree.
You take their money, you take their time when you just throw a book out there. Okay, I'm sorry, he has to speak now. Yes, Tim.
Well, I want to say but there's also when Amazon opened up the floodgates, there was a lot of authors out there who didn't know the system.
Yes, that's right.
And they're the ones that, after getting bad reviews, went back and re-edited their work.
Absolutely.
And stuck through it. That's one thing. And in a way, we're starting to recover our image.
Yes.
Because people who get their bad reviews go back and rework the book and throw it back onto the fire.
Yes.
But Amazon kind of kicked us in the ribs a couple of years ago as well, when they allowed, and I know their reasoning for it, everyone should be on the same playing field, but when they allowed already made authors like J.K. Rowling's into the same system where indie authors are trying to get a leg up. And when your book is on the market sitting next to Harry Potter, you know, which one is going to be chosen? So
yes, but okay, but have you noticed the prices of these best-selling authors? Okay, I won't put my book for free. I've worked blood, sweat, and tears into this book. I won't sell it for free. I won't sell it either for $11 to $15 for a Kindle book. It's ridiculous. The whole point of electronic books was to make it cheaper for the reader.
Yeah.
So they weren't paying for print and paper.
Well,
and so it was cheaper for the reader to buy and cheaper for the author to make. Yeah. But these very greedy published bestsellers have taken our... Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm going to shut up now.
Can I chime in real quick? I just think that it's also to further the technology. The Kindle thing was created so that Apple had a way of marketing itself and continuing all these computer companies trending to make the world digital, and that's really where the Kindle came into play. But it turned into, this is a great way to get a book for really cheap and not have to get out of my bed or off my couch to go to the bookstore and try to find it.
Yeah, I agree. And going back to the pricing though, and I wanna say this. This is where our stigma hurts us, and this is where Amazon and the Big Five kick us in the ribs while we're down. Is yes, when you see the professional, well-known author's book for $11, and then you see one of our books for $3 or $2 or $5 at most, trying to get a sell, the readers tend to go, well, it's an indie author, it's going to be shit. I'm going to go with this more expensive, well-known writer.
Exactly. Yeah, but then you've got the other ones. If you went cheaper if you went more expensive, like the bestsellers, then you have the problem of people not wanting to pay for your book because they can get books for $99 and free. So it works both ways, unfortunately.
We're basically stuck.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention to everybody out there watching, as we're growing viewers, I see the viewership growing every single minute, and I appreciate everybody coming on and watching. I want to mention that the fairgrounds are now open, and if you click, I mean, it's so simple. CC Rogers and Angela put this thing together that is just so simple. You just click right on the banner right there, and you go right to CC's page, and every event, every person's booth is listed there, and you just click on it, and you're in, and it's fantastic. So everybody definitely do that. There's so much going on. That's funny.
You started it.
Hilarious.
Everyone, this is Joe's book. Have a look.
Yay!
Thank him and take a look at it. I started reading it last night. I read it was really, definitely read it. Absolutely. I was enjoying it. I had to put it down because I had to, but I didn't want to. I just need to state, in addition to what Joe was saying, I'm going to be in and out. I'm probably going to stay, surprise Joe, I'm probably going to stay here all day with you. Because I found out that I can feed in, and you're going where I'm going. So I'm like, well, I might as well just keep you company. So that being said, I am taking time right now to post this live feed literally on all our social media. I'm probably going to send out a bulletin to the authors asking them to do the same. Here's the link. Just post it everywhere. And I just want to confirm, Joe, this YouTube link is not going to be changing, correct?
What's that?
This YouTube live feed is not changing for the rest of the convention, right?
No, it's
excellent. Not. So we're passing this around that way no matter who sees it on whatever platform. This is where everything's happening. So we're going to have people coming in and out, and I will include instructions as to how to join this conversation. I want to state that Facebook is launching. I'm right there now. We have the takeover. This is the 1 hour opening ceremony on Facebook, which will end for them at 11 o'clock. When C.L. Schneider, she's very camera shy, so I'm going to promote her for her. When C.L. Schneider launches our Facebook event, so the links are all provided on my website, please, and also on Goodreads. Stop in, say hello. She has some seriously epic fantasy stuff going on, and she just finished her trilogy, so definitely look around. We also have, there was something else I needed to say, and I can't remember, so I'm going to shut up until I can. Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I have to manage the convention while I'm here, so even though I'm here physically, I'm going to be distracted because I have to manage and I have troubleshooting going on. So if I kind of seem disconnected, that's why. And I'm sorry.
That's okay. And let me just also say, to Angela's point, if I am off, there will be a message that says I'm off line. But I have stuff programming throughout the day, so if I'm taking a break or whatever, something will be on the screen live. But the one concern I do have, and I expressed this earlier when I opened this morning, I'll reiterate to everybody, at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central, 2 Mountain, 1 Pacific, yes, I'm going to do that every time, I will be on with Corey Miller on Blab. We decided to do it on Blab because she's going to run through a tutorial, and I've been testing and testing and testing, trying to make sure that YouTube and Blab connect, but people have to understand that these guys are all competing entities, so a lot of them don't make it easy for you to connect to their competition. So if that is the case, I will post the link everywhere to make sure that if you want to go over to Blab and take a look at it while, for that particular, I think it's only going to be like a half hour. So that may be the only time that I'm actually down and not, we'll be live, but we won't be on YouTube. Otherwise, the entire rest of the time, I'm here.
Okay.
But I just wanted to tell everybody that so they're prepared, because I do not know what to expect. I'm going to try and make it. I worked it a couple times and it worked, and a couple times it didn't. So, and we're live, so I'm not going to have as much time as I did before to do that. So I just want to make people aware of that. That might be the only time. So.
I have a question.
Yes.
After this, I'm jumping right over into the romance panel. Is it the same? Am I just going to stay on live here and everyone's going to gather here?
No, you're going to Aurelia's things. Aurelia has her own Hangout set up, and I'm directing a lot of people there. I suspect that I will be very lonely for those hours, but that's fine.
I'll be here.
That's fine. Right.
I need that. I need that link. So I think she's supposed to email me the link, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
she said that she was going to do so a half hour. So you probably have it in your email, Jen, if you look for it. But she's starting on her own. But I will tell everybody that if you want to stay with me, pretty me, and don't go over the panel, which I think is a mistake personally. But if you don't want to do that and you want to stay with us and continue our conversation and stay with our conversation, then I will be posting the panels later this evening. They won't be live, obviously, so you won't be able to interact with those folks, but you'll be able to see them and watch them later on. And Aurelia also will have them posted on her YouTube channel, so you can check those out there as well when you get a moment. But do go over there. I'm not advocating that you stay with me at all, please. She's got an incredible lineup, Mr. Jin being one of them for this first panel, and then the panels get incredibly more complex as we go throughout this day, and then the next couple days they have some really good ones going too. So I definitely recommend you guys go over there and check those out.
So, are there any questions that you're getting from the people who are watching us?
Let's see if I've gotten anything going here. No, not really. People are just saying great job, loving it. Thank you for talking about indie. That's a good one. Thank you for talking about indie publishing. All right, cool.
Cool.
We're
if
happy
anyone
to
has
do
any
so.
questions, then just
We're
ask.
doing good.
We're here to answer any queries or about writing, about the books that we do, about the publishing world, anything. Just ask questions and we'll try and answer them.
Yes, please. And so let me ask each of you in your journey. I will ask questions. In your journey to get to where you are now, what's the most valuable thing that you've learned over your time period?
Since I'm the only male on so far, can I answer first?
Sure.
Yes.
Only if you show your book.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Let me show my book.
There you go. Yeah.
Show my book. This is my first novel. The other one's the other one hasn't arrived in the mail yet. So, the most important thing that I've learned, and people will say this, but they won't do it, is that when you ask, what am I doing wrong, and people just say, oh, keep trying, and they leave it at that. The most important thing that I've learned is to ignore them and look for the people that actually tell you what you're doing wrong. Because if you don't find those people, you're just gonna be spinning in the wind, and that's just something that no one likes to do, and you'll get frustrated with that. It took me a long time to find the people who would just say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. You know, your cover's pixelated, you know, you have too many typos in this thing, you know, go back through it again. You have, you know, this sentence doesn't make sense. When I was correcting my blurbs for my books, because they were huge. This is less than 2 months ago. If you had looked at my romance novel Love and seen the blurb, it was at least a 10-minute read just to get through the blurb. But now, you know, it's gotten to the point where it's short. It's beyond short. It's less than 300, 400 words, or characters. Sorry, it's less than 300, 400 characters. It's short to the point, and it tells you who's involved, what's their issue, and it goes on. That's it.
That's what it should be. Like you say, it should be a teaser.
Yeah. So that's what I've learned. I've learned to look for the people that are willing to talk to me about what I'm doing wrong, rather than the ones that just say, keep trying. So, what about you, Karina?
I've noticed. I try to speak to the authors that are actually earning money from their work, and unfortunately, they won't actually tell you what they're doing to get these sales. You know, they won't actually. Yeah, they'll give you a few little tips, but they won't tell you what's actually doing it for them, because they don't want you to then be their competition and you start selling your books, which is unfortunate. I have been in this business for many, many years. I research, even now, I don't know everything, and I research all the time. And it's just the research I'm doing that's helping me with my marketing, because no other person is going to do that, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Karina, you are just an amazing articulator. You really hit all my points and complaints right on the head. I open my books. I don't tell or keep secret my sales and my profits. Data. I'm obsessed with numbers. Data absolutely is huge in understanding growth, is understanding what works and what doesn't work. And I feel like authors are sitting very tight-lipped on all this information, and I'm going, guys, we are not going to figure out what works. We're not going to figure out. We are starting a new thing here. We are pioneers, and the first thing we have got to do is open up the floodgates and start showing each other, look, these are the numbers. This is what's working. This is not working. Yes, I am making $10,000 a year, and this is how. And $10,000, for the record, is a lot of money for an author. I launched out and I made $30. Here are the numbers. $30 my first month, and I have no idea if that's good or bad. None. I have no idea if that was outstanding, and if I should keep doing something, or if it was terrible and I should change. My second month I made $28, and then since then I've made about $10 a month. Yes, lots of work pays off. And then when I released Broken, I jumped back up to 30, and then like $38, and then it dropped back down again to 14, 10, 15. I get paid on the 29th of every month, one-time payment. So I've got these numbers, and you look at them and you're going, wow, is this good? Is this bad? And you won't know until we sit down and actually lay it all on the line and see what's normal, what's average, what's low, what's high. And no one is willing to open up those numbers, and I'm just.
Well.
You're right. People are. It's very yes. Yes, Jim.
Well, it's not just that people are tight-lipped about the numbers. Is that even in the indie world, people see each other in competition.
Yeah. And I don't understand that. I really don't.
I know. I wrote a blog article on my blog. This was towards the middle of last year or the end, and it basically stated, it was more of a rant, and it basically said, look, there are close to 6 billion people in the world.
Yes.
You know, we're growing, and even if even if all of them were non-English speakers, and we only took it as English speakers being less than 100,000, you know, one book is not going to cover their reading needs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, therefore, you take it into account and say, look, we don't have to be in competition with each other. You know, we can help each other, boost each other up, and in doing so, we open up our readers to new authors, and readers will be happy about that. But in a way, people just stay closed in and say, no, these are my readers. I worked hard for them. Get your own.
Yeah, and I have never met a bibliophile who says, no, thank you. I really can't have any more books. I'm only buying one this month. What bibliophile does that?
I received a question for the panel here, but I wanted to say real quick on what we're talking about before I ask my question. This is the biggest misnomer I think people have of traditional versus indie, something that Karina touched on about having to market themselves. People don't realize that the big five, even the top of the traditional ladder, they don't market for you. You're not given a budget. You're not given anything. You have to. What they do now on a lot of their applications is they have what your social reach is on there. They ask you how many Twitter followers you have, how many Facebook followers you have, because they want to know that you're going to want to be out. They know that you're going to be out there promoting them and your book, and that's when they'll take you on. It's not even about the writing anymore.
No, it's not.
Exactly. You have to have that social media platform for them to even think about accepting you. If you don't have that already made fan base, international fan base, they won't want to know.
Yeah. And here's the irony of all that. By the time you have that kind of a platform, you don't need them.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing you start to realize. The first time you're traditionally published, that's the thing you realize is that why am I going through all this grief so you can take 20% from me?
Yeah.
And I'm the one doing all the work.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna self-aggrandize and say, you know, indie publishing is the way to go. Obviously, I have a platform. I'm going to speak on it, and I'm not going to deny anybody who wants to be traditionally published. There's a lot of good that does too, but I'm just speaking for indies, you know, and that's what I do. So I'm going to always defend that. But go ahead, Jim.
Sorry. I was trying to be as cute as possible because Stephen King said it the best. If you look at his little comments here and there that he's done, he goes, "You don't need an agent until you have enough money that somebody wants to steal the money from you." Right? So you don't need an agent. Yeah, you don't need a traditional publisher until you're so rich that the publisher, you know, will make less money off of you than you will make off of them.
Yeah.
So, that being said, if you're already making 100,000, 200,000, $1 million off of your own work, why would you go traditional?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, everybody ready for our first viewer question?
Our first question.
Deidre Mapstone, a very
Deidre!
beautiful author.
Hello.
Super great author. And let me tell you, on the book trailer hour, she's going to steal the show. I'm just going to say that right now. She and her family filmed her own trailer. It's awesome. I love it so much. I'm super excited for everybody to see that one when it comes to the book trailer hour. You'll know what it is because she has credits and everything. It's pretty cool.
I'm eager to see this now. Very good.
Hello, Rebecca.
Here's what she says. She says, "Okay, so I love the support of indie authors more than I can express. You all seem to have the same exact feelings about it excuse me. You seem to have the same exact feelings as I do about it all. Were you surprised when you entered the world of indie at the level of love and support?" And I'll just start by saying 100% yes, that's why this exists. Because this is what created. That's where that came from. The support and love that I received, because I was an indie filmmaker at one point as well, and I can tell you that this doesn't exist in the indie filmmaking world. The indie filmmaking world is cutthroat, but that's not because of the indie filmmakers. The indie filmmakers they're pushed away from one another and they're kept away from one another. And that's where social media has come into big time play for the indie filmmaker, because they've gathered themselves together and started to revolutionize and become together. And I think that has created their platform, and they want to be where I discovered indie publishing is. And I'm super excited, and I want to welcome Rebecca to the conversation. Hi, Rebecca.
Hello, Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hello.
I do have to add, Joe, William Matthew Harrell with Helldat, that is exactly his goal. Absolutely is this brotherhood that we have developed, and just a huge supporter. Matthew William Harrell developed Helldat on Facebook to support this family that we have developed, and it is such a family. The best way I've found to explain all of this in this world is when you're trying to get to that top in traditional publishing or any kind of a community, you are stepping on the backs of others to reach your goal. Indie authors step on each other's backs gratefully just to pull up each other with them. And that's really the difference between indie author and other indies, the musicians. It is such a I'm reaching for the stars, but I'm taking you with me mentality.
Oh, I agree. And to add to that, when you first start in indie publishing, you have nothing, and you're basically working off of WordPad.
Yeah.
And then you move on and you say, well, I became great. Now I'm doing it under OpenOffice, or I'm doing it under Microsoft Word, and I have my little template laid out, and I'm doing all of this other stuff. And then to get to the publishing side, and someone telling you, no, you should be doing it in Scrivener, or you should be doing it on this program which costs hundreds of dollars. And you say, well, where am I going to get this money? Only in the indie author world have I seen where somebody has told me and actually helped me with my newest book that just came out. My newest book is called Kaoru and Love's Shadow. The first book is called Love, so they're connected in Love's Shadow. So what this author did, and her name is Rebecca Jonesy. She's an erotica novelist, and you can see her on my blog. She's also at the convention, so stop by her booth. Little shout out there for her. She actually asked me to send my book to her, and she ran it through her program to find all the extra spacing, all the type mistypes and stuff like that. That would never have happened in another place.
No, that's true. Yeah.
And she didn't do it for money. She did it to clean up my work.
Yeah.
I just want to say one thing real quick before we continue the conversation. I want to welcome Rebecca. Rebecca, we've decided and discerned that if you want to speak, you just hold up your book. So if you want to talk, I will turn right to you. You hold up your book, and we'll let you have the floor. And that's how we're going to do it, I guess. But I wanted to let everybody know. What was it? I was going to say something. I'm sorry. The panel is started over on
Romance?
Yes, it has. Yes. So you
Okay,
gotta go back out of here, Jin.
I gotta get out of here.
Yes, sir.
Bye, Jin.
Okay, see you.
What about you, Karina? How would you answer Deidre's question?
Say what's the question again?
The question was, were you surprised when you entered the world of indie at the level of love and support?
Well, unfortunately, when I went into as a indie author, it was called self-publishing. There wasn't the phrase indie. Social media hadn't really taken off. So the only support, if you could call it that, was the groups on Goodreads and a social media network called MySpace, if you remember that. We're going back a bit now. It's still going, but that was where I met my readers on MySpace, and got any support, if any, was on Goodreads. So at the time, there wasn't. I mean, there is now. Oh my gosh. I wouldn't have got my last book published. Let me just hold it up, Illusional Reality. This wouldn't be with me right now if it wasn't for the support that I've been given from other authors that helped me with the cover, the editing, formatting, everything. So that wouldn't have happened. So at the beginning, no, there wasn't for me, because I started right from a long time ago.
Yeah, I think it's just amazing how the industry and the world is changing, and I think it's been a welcome change for sure. I definitely think that there's something to be said for the support and love aspect of it, because I think a lot of us would be kind of in a Bukowski situation or a Hemingway situation, and really just not be right in the head because of that, and I think that's really super important that you get that support. I mean, and that it's available. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, Facebook. I mean, Facebook has a lot of a negative press at the moment because of how it's treating its authors and the blocks that it's suddenly put up. But if it wasn't for Facebook and the groups and all these different pages where all the authors are getting together to help one another and to give advice, selling their swag to help with the events, if it wasn't for Facebook, for these places, then I don't think many of us will be as successful and well known as we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's super important. Well, I think it's just you and me now.
Yes.
So let's talk about you and your journey, because I think you have an incredible story, and I know you told it earlier, but let's rehash it a little bit and talk about how you got started and let's start with what advice you give to anybody who's trying to start. How about that?
Don't do it! Don't do it! We don't need any more. No. I mean, I was the same as most of the writers back then. We just wanted to get our book out. It was something we had to do, and we didn't care how bad it was, like editing we didn't know about this. We didn't know that we had to pay to have a cover done, that we shouldn't have took the one that Lulu gave for free. We didn't know that your book is supposed to be professionally edited, because you wrote it, you gave it to your best friend who's really good at English, you gave it to the neighbour who's an English teacher, and so, okay, that's it, the book's ready, let's publish it. And that's all you wanted to do at the time. So now, please, anyone who thinks they have a book ready to be published, it's not. You need to have it professionally edited. You need to have it formatted correctly. You need to have the best cover you can get, because it's the first thing that a potential reader will see. It needs to tell people what they're going to get. It needs to show that you are professional, that the book is worth any money you're going to spend on it. It's the first impressions. And at the time, back then, that wasn't important, but now it is. So it's editing, professional cover, formatting. Once that's all done, and editing does take a long time, you 2 or 3 times with your professional editor until it's perfect, then publish it. And then shout it from the rooftops. You have to be shouting louder than the other 100 authors, because you're all trying to get that one reader. And so you have to stand out. How are you going to make your book stand out? You've just published it. How are you going to get the buyers? There are ways of doing it. but everyone is doing that. So you need to come up with something unique, which isn't easy, but the only way you're going to stand out is to be different from everybody else.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And when you started your journey, there wasn't this presence as we were just talking about. So where did you go to get things done? How did you manage to do that?
It started off with, before even thinking about self-publishing, I wanted to have an agent for my book. I'd written, let me just find it in this massive pile. Yeah, In Times of Violence. It's a different cover now. This is the cover for the paperback, and the cover on the Kindle is very different. It has a picture of the back of a motorcycle jacket with a tag of the peace sign of the tyrants. So when I wrote this because of S.E. Hinton's book, The Outsiders. After reading her novellas, I was like, oh, I could do that. And so this is why I wrote In Times of Violence, but I never knew about self-publishing at the time. So I tried to find an agent and a publisher myself, and it was one door slam after another. Maybe out of 100 submissions, I would have had two publishers asking to actually have a partial to read. But again, it wasn't ready because I thought it was. So I can understand now why the agent and the publisher turned me down, because it was so not badly written, but it wasn't polished. And then I found what she called herself as a Christian publisher, which turned out to be a vanity press. But at the time, I was really, really happy to go with her. I paid so much money to start with. I can't remember, this is going back too far now. And she published my book and she got it out there. And if I wanted copies, I got it cheaper and I bought them off her. Unfortunately, me and many, many of the authors got burnt by this company. We took them to court. We won the case. She became, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to excuse me.
Blacklisted?
Not blacklisted. The company finished.
Bankrupt?
Bankrupt, we'll say. Say bankrupt, yeah, publisher bankrupt. So she became bankrupt or declared bankruptcy. We didn't get anything that we should have got, and then she came back as a different name. And she's 3 or 4 different names of the same person, ripping off more authors. This happens, and it still happens now. You've got to be so careful. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Yeah. I got burnt twice from this publisher who, as far as I'm concerned, still publishes my book and still sells it, and there is bugger all I can do about it. So I'm still getting burnt by them, and then I made the mistake of going again with someone else who I thought was really good and paying lots of money, and it turned out that everything that they were doing I could have done myself. And that's when I started taking indie publishing seriously and did the rest of my 8 books that way. But it was a really hard lesson to learn, and unfortunately still authors now. I mean, okay, Kindle's making it easier because you're not going through a third party like you do with a small press or a vanity press, right, or some other place that's going to display and sell your book online. You're doing it yourself, and that's the easiest way and probably the safest way to do it.
Awesome. Yeah, those presses, those vanity presses and things like that, I remember that time, and that really destroyed what indie self-publishing is trying to create now and rebuild. We've pretty much gotten out of that muck now, but I mean, there were so many scams and so many things that were regurgitated, just like exactly how you said it. She would just somebody would come up and they'd get in trouble for doing what they were doing, and then close that business and reopen it as a new name.
Change the name and start again. And unfortunately, more and more people. I mean, you can say online publicly, you can do it. I mean, I could the name of the person, the name of the company, but that's not around anymore.
Yeah.
And it's something else, and some other authors are with them now. And it started off wonderful, you know. It went on. You're saying hello, are you? It went on Amazon, and the book sold, and the reviews came in, and then I did a large number of what did I do? Something like 30 or 40 books. I ordered from her, paid, and never got. And I said to her, you know, what's going to happen about this? So she said, oh, I'm going to send them again. And she said she sent them again. And she made this one excuse after another. And we just went through emails for about a month, backwards and forwards. And then I had this email from one of the authors saying, oh, did you know what was going on? And we're taking them to court. And I was like, oh, my gosh, yes, unfortunately, I'm one of them. So I'm over in Greece. I'm from the UK, but I live in Greece, and this was done in the UK by a UK Vanity Press publisher, which was actually a couple, two middle-aged couples that run it. I couldn't actually go over to the UK to attend the court date, but there were other authors that did. But it didn't matter that I wasn't there. I sent in my, what do you call it? Oh, testimonial, official testimonial for the court, and I sent that in, so that was read out. But that's just one of thousands.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's crazy to think that was a business model at some point. And I think the one thing for you that became an advantage, though, in that era, and I think it was somewhat of an advantage for me too, because of when I explored self-publishing at the time, that I felt the sting of traditional publishing, that I discovered now that probably is helpful, is that you know how to produce a paperback. And I think a lot, I mean, because that's all you had an option to do back, 20, 30 years ago, was produce a paperback. There was no, Kindle was infant, if it was even around.
There was no e-book. No one had ever heard of electronic books. It was.
So yeah,
exactly.
that's an advantage, because I think a lot of indie authors now are suffering from the exact opposite, which is they know how to format for Kindle, and a lot of them just went the Kindle route, and there are a lot of just Kindle books out there, but there are other formats. There's the audiobook, there's the paperback, and I think the paperback is, and they're all different in the way that they're formatted and presented. So I think if you don't have that knowledge of the paperback and you're doing it as it's self-published by yourself, it's a lot tougher, because you have to understand typesetting and printing and all of those things, and that's probably an advantage that you had right off the bat, I would imagine.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it was. I think that formatting a Kindle and the paperback, yes, they're both different, but I think they're both just as hard to do. What authors don't realise, I mean, they're going the Kindle route because it's free and it's easy. But what they don't realise is that you can actually publish your book in paperback for free. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
And people don't realise that. They're staying with Kindle because they think it's the cheapest and easiest way to do it, but it's not, because you can publish your paperback and distribute it, and of course you pay for any copies that you buy yourself, but that's the only charge.
Yeah, I mean, if you're savvy enough to make your own book cover and all that, which I'm not, but if you're an artist, it's a really essential, I mean, it's now they have online programs and stuff like that where you can create your own book cover too, so it makes it easy. That's the great thing about our technology. It evolves, and people who need something, there's a need for it, so somebody who's tech savvy creates that, like the book cover. I mean, the guy who created Fiverr realized that, everything was expensive to do, to get music for something or to get an art drawn, a logo drawn. And he said, doesn't need to be that way. And there's a lot of artists that get pushed out of that, because they're not getting the numbers that, certain artists were getting paid for what they were doing and certain artists weren't. So this helped not only the person trying to get whatever the service they needed, but it helped the artist as well. And so the little things like those sites are popping up everywhere and becoming populated and making everything, affordable and easy and comparable to anything else. And the work that is done, I will argue that some of the things I've seen on Fiverr versus 99 Designs is comparable, and they say you get what you pay for, but that's not necessarily true anymore, I don't think.
I love Fiverr. I think I've never bought anything on there, but I've tried, because I'm a narrator, and so I put myself up as a narrator. But I actually had more clients via Facebook than Fiverr, so I cancelled the Fiverr account, carried on Facebook. But and places like that, yeah, I mean, it's the same with Facebook. I mean, if you look, you can find places where people will design the cover for you free of charge. You can find someone that will edit and format for you. There are trading groups that will trade something for something that you can do, even if it's just promoting on your blog. Okay, you promote my book for 3 weeks and I'll do your cover for free. You have to look, you have to research. There are ways of doing it.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's super, it's amazing. And like you said, create space and was it Ingram, right? And what's the other one? I'm trying to think of the other, the one.
So I've been published all 8 of my books with Lulu. That's who I've used all through this time is Lulu. Hi, Jen.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, I think she moved the time, Jen.
She moved the time?
Yeah, because it says it starts in an hour, so an hour and 30 minutes. So
yeah,
on her page.
I went to the actual Google site for it, and nothing's live. The YouTube, nothing's live.
I think I got confused with Pacific and Eastern time. I think she did everything in Pacific time. So
it's all right. If you got confused, look at
Jin?
me. I'm over here.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, Jin, are you going to sleep? Are you going to sleep tonight, Jin? What's the time there now?
It's almost 12:30, so I have about an hour or so before the panel starts. So I'm probably gonna sleep around 6 or 7, and then.
Oh my God!
If I can get an RSVP from Joe, I submitted for the 9 o'clock, which is my 2 in the afternoon, talking about my book.
Yeah.
So.
You consider you just got it. I'm welcoming you anytime you want to be on. Absolutely. I'm just going to open this up because I think people want to jump on and jump off as much as possible. So, but I want you to come on, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll come on as much as I can. If I can get away with it, I might actually not sleep until tomorrow afternoon. But I gotta keep checking on. Sorry, go ahead, Angela.
No, it's all right. I'm back again. I've been here listening, but I had a lot of fires to put out. So I just want to do a quick. This is what's going on. We have a Facebook going on right now. CL Schneider is on. We have one lady here who is asking for a shout out. So I'm doing that now. If I can find the post that I just sent her. I think it's already might be lost in the forum. I'll take a look at that in a moment. Once I have her name, I'll give her a shout out. I'm getting ready to send out the bulletin for the Brain to Books Cyber Convention Fairground, notifying everyone with links what we've got on. We have the YouTube link for promo spots on air live coverage. Yeah. If you are looking at all to support us, help us out, if you are part of this event, take this link and post it everywhere. That way, anyone who stops in on a website, on your social media, can push play, watch us for like 5 minutes and go, oh, this looks interesting. Let me head on over to the fairgrounds. Speaking of fairgrounds, we have the Goodreads. We have giveaways going on right now over at Goodreads. We have blog tours. I just checked with my bloggers, and we are opening that up here soon. So we are well on our way to being awesome. And because I do things like this, apparently I am doing a book cover reveal today for my 3rd book.
Oh, wow.
Surprise! So, fortunately, I have like 5 takeovers this weekend, so I'll have an audience. They're in for a surprise. So,
and
yeah.
let's,
You love multitasking, don't you, Angela?
I'm sorry?
You love multitasking.
Oh, yes, I thrive on multitasking, probably more than I should. It's addictive.
let me just throw out there
Yeah.
for everybody. Let's get this trending. It's B2B SciCon. So hashtag B2B.
Yes.
B, the number 2, B, Sci, CYCON. Get that going. And any Twitter you run, if you're watching this and you want to post a Twitter of any link of anywhere, use that hashtag. Let's get that going. Let's trend that sucker and get it out there so that everybody, so our audiences expand and everybody benefits from that. So here we go.
Yeah. There it is.
There it is.
I'm going to talk here for a moment just to get my thing up here so I can show people. Is it backwards? Is it like mirror imaging?
No,
Okay, great.
it's straight from here.
So there you go. Wow, from a distance, my hand looks Arabic. Wow.
Cool.
Okay, so we are all set. I think that's all I have to yep about for now. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed to listen to the conversation while I put out fires. Oh, look, another one.
Well,
The cat's outside.
I'm gonna go ahead and jump in here real quick. 2 things. I bought Joe's book, the ebook. I read anything, so I'll probably have it finished by the time after I get some rest. It'll probably take me about 2 days or so.
And this is the book. This is the book that he just bought.
That's the book.
The one.
It looks interesting. I'm a prolific reader, so I'm gonna probably eat right through it. The only book that's actually been slowing me down, which I read once already, but now it's slowing me down, is Gravity's Rainbow. But that's a heavy book, so. The next thing is, I just tweeted the promo into my Twitter with the B2B SciCon hashtag. And just so that we have numbers out there, I get about 42,000 organic hits per month.
Yay!
Wow.
Wonderful.
So that's
Wow.
You are the story that I tell everybody about Twitter. Because let's talk about a little bit about that, because I think people need to understand that Twitter's not the enemy here. And a lot of these places aren't the enemy. Goodreads, Google+. I know a lot of people want to stick in their Facebook and stay in their Facebook,
Yeah.
or stick to their Tumblr and stay in their Tumblr.
Yep.
But these are effective tools, Twitter and Google+ and Goodreads. And Go ahead.
sorry to cut you off, Joe. It's not just that they're good tools. When it's the only tools you have, like when you're in my position, and all I have is social media. I can't stay with one. And if I go back to when I first started publishing, and I was making, and this is again some more numbers here for Angela, I was making about $1 about every 3 or 4 months. I would get $1. That's how badly my books were selling. And in the second year, I was actually lucky to get a paycheck. I finally got a paycheck in my second year from Amazon with their Create Space, which was for $150.
Wow.
It doesn't sound like much, but
No,
it was
it's-
$150.
that's fantastic.
And now the trouble with me is that because Create Space only pays with check, I have them make the check out to my sister so that taxes can be paid from it. and then she sends me the cash. Now, when KDP came out for me, and I jumped onto it, they pay me directly, which is also helpful for me. Now, last year, because of the way my PayPal was being switched back and forth because of my naming, and I was turning it off because I was trying to decide, I didn't get paid a dime. When I turned it back on this year under my old name, I got paid my back pay, which was for last year in numbers was a total of $56. That was my last year's pay, but it was only from ebooks. Throw that into that. I've also, the local bookstore here carries 6 books of mine, and when they sell out, I replace them. I make on average every 3 months I make about $150. That's it. Those are the numbers, and I would be making so much less had I not used social media to promote me. Had I not used, sites that boost me, So we need things like Twitter. We need things like Goodreads. We need things to get us out there to the reader, because Amazon's gonna rank us. And if you know the way the system works, if you get 500 sales, then a day later they only account for half of it, and a day after that, half of that number. So you must constantly be selling books to be always at the top, or else you drop. My book, last month I sold 6 copies of my book. That's this one right here. 6 copies. And it took me from position 1.5 million down to 70,000. That's the rank. That's the jump that it took just selling 6 books. Just selling 6 books.
Because
there's a problem there, Jin. Sorry, the problem there is that if you sell 100, 200 books and you get up to, or 500 books and you get up to number 1, the next day you're back to 75,000 because someone's already jumped you. I can't go with the rankings. I don't agree with them, and I try not to, to go by them because of that reason.
Well, no, that's why you misunderstood or I didn't explain correctly. You don't want one-day spike sales. That's what I was trying to get at. If you sell 500 books on one day, and then the next day, of course, you're going to drop back down. But I sold 6 books, but it was during the course of 2 weeks. So now, instead of jumping back up to the millions in ranking, I was hovering from 70,000, I was hovering at 200,000. And then just right now, I started hovering back at 500,000. So if you sell books in a periodic way, so looking at selling 2-3 books per day, you're actually going to beat the person who has a big spike of 100, 500 books.
Yeah, because it's I don't know if people know this or not, but it's an algorithm that Amazon uses.
Yes, that's right.
Because they can't measure book sales by periods of time. They have to measure it by prediction, and that's what they use in the algorithm. So if you're a consistent seller, you're selling 1 book, 2 book, 3 book, you're moving yourself up the ranking because they're predicting that you're going to just keep on selling and going higher and higher and higher. And that's how you really get to number 1 and sustain it. But to Jin's point and your point, Karina, selling a bulk amount of books and running a promotion is good for you to start your journey, but you have to maintain that and consistently sell, because if you sell 500 books and then sell 1 the next day, you will drop significantly. And then you sell 2 the next day, you'll rise back up, but you'll always stay within a certain point.
I don't know how the authors do it. That stay consistent. I don't know how the authors do it, because I mean, there must be the authors that pay for paid promotion, because I can't understand how they can sell 10, 20 copies every day like some of them are saying they're doing. How are they doing that? Because they certainly won't tell anyone how they're doing it. But this is what I want. I don't want it to make money. I don't want it to go to number 1 on the Amazon charts. I want people to read my work. I
Yeah.
want people to come onto my page and discuss about my books, because I do. I have a passion for them. Every author has a passion. Every author wants to talk about their work. It's not for me. I mean, I'd love to make money from my writing. I haven't in the 20 years I've been doing it. I don't think I ever will. But for me, it's not about the ranking or about the algorithms. For me, it's just wanting for people to buy my book, even if it's on a special and it's on a free. Get the book, read it, so I can see the reviews and see what you think, and talk to you about it.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you there. I agree with you there, and well, let me help you out with what I'm doing. Being in a Japanese-speaking country, I don't have access to go down and do a book selling at the bookstore. The most they'll take is 6 books at a time until they're gone. So let's talk social media. You have a website. You have that linked
Yeah.
to your Twitter, so when you automatically post something, it goes out.
No, only the Facebook fan page does that with Twitter.
Now you want to have that also on your blog. Like I use WordPress. I use WordPress. I pay $15 only. I use the amateur one, not the pro site. So I'm not allowed to put any advertising on it from them.
Yeah.
I put my own advertising on, but I pay $15 per year only for my name, ginokubo.com. Okay. On there, I linked it to my Twitter, I linked it to my Facebook, and I linked it to my I forgot what else. It's linked everywhere that I could. That being said, I try to do 1 blog post a week, no more, because you want to have enough time to write, and you want to have enough time to promote. Here's the balancing part. I prepare every 2 or 3 days. I prepare using I use TweetDeck, and I prepare
Yes, that's what I use.
I prepare my tweets up for 2 or 3 days, and then every single tweet I individually prepare. Except for this this convention, I just blasted this convention as much as I could, just because you gotta get it out there. So
thank you.
That being said, you set up your tweets for 2 days in a row, but you want to set them up where you're not annoying people. So what I do is I set up my tweets in 2 to 4 hour increments. So that way, I have that 4 hour, 2 hour space in the middle where I promote other people. I promote other things. And I've gotten tweets that have gone up to, 2,000 views per one tweet. Of course, that was when I was promoting. Just so you know, this is my model. I paid for her to model for my book. She lives in Norway, actually, and I paid through PayPal for her. Her name is Anakin Bride, and she had her name legally changed to that. She has a wonderful WordPress blog where she talks about bipolar disorder. Wonderful, wonderful woman. I paid for her through there, and I was promoting her as well as a model. And one of the good things is that I can promote my book at the same time that I'm promoting her. And I was using our extra shots that we had of different shots that we took together, because she actually used her iPhone to take pictures and send them to me. And I patchworked some of them in here, and using that to promote her, I was able to promote my book as well. So you want to have these kind of innovative little tweaks here and there. Joining, like, I don't know how to join, because I just started my author page last month on Facebook, because I was one of those people that, I don't want to promote on Facebook because nobody promotes books on Facebook. That's what my thoughts were. And then someone said, no, make a Facebook author page. And so I have no idea how to connect that to my Twitter. That being said, one of the other groups that I joined, with their help, I've gotten 50 likes on my author page. in very short time. I don't know if it's gonna help out or not. I don't know who's gonna see it or not. I know Facebook keeps asking me for $5 to promote my page.
Don't even go there. That's my opinion. Stay away from the boost.
Yeah, so what I'm doing now is just...
I've done it to do it because I'm that kind of guy. I just want to do stuff and just try it out.
Yeah.
I've done it and it's worthless. It gets you some likes. Don't get me wrong, but not as many. It's a percentage game, and the way I went and researched a lot about how people boost and what's the most effective way to boost and everything like that, and using the hashtag, using the audience, narrowing the audience down. Putting all the audience members that would be interested in what you're doing into your boost and all of those things. And I can tell you, it's random as all random. The Facebook doesn't really rely upon what you're actually inputting. It relies upon a mass or audience and getting as many people, getting that post as many people as possible. And I'm sure you've seen them on your Facebook feeds before, everybody, the little ads that pop up because you searched something on Google or did something like that, and that's where those ads come up. And I don't know how many people have ever clicked on them. I've clicked on a few because I'm just like that, but it doesn't work that way. I did a $10 boost for my novel when it first came out, and I got 4 Facebook likes and 2 shares. That's what I got out of it.
Oh dear.
But I will tell you, there are effective paid promos out there. There's a lot of people. If you join groups like if you join the author co-op or other promo co-op, or you join Books Go Social, or
I'm on Books Go Social.
Yeah, or the authors. If you join any of those groups or be invited to join any of those groups, some of them are closed. But if you join those groups, there are a lot of people who post regularly about their experiences with promos, and they'll give you the lowdown and they'll give you the stats on the promos, which I always find so helpful and effective. And that's a really good tool because you just don't know what works and what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot out there, and a lot of people claim to have results that they don't have. One of the things I did when I first released my book, because I'm old school and I come from the land of self-publishing and from traditional publishing. When I first started, I tried to get traditionally published. The one thing that was effective back then was called press releasing, and that's obsolete technology, but they've tailored it toward the internet now. But I tell you, that's what I first did. That's the first thing I went to was a press relations company and a press promotion that specifically tailored themselves to publishing, and that was effective to get me people. What they do is they send it out to bloggers who write reviews. They send it out to radio stations and TV stations and everybody that could possibly help you, benefit you. And they do blanket it, and they play the percentage. And I got about 7 responses from that of people wanting to let me know that, hey, I can send my book. And I found, and this may not be the case with all of them, I'm just telling you my experience. I found what happened was I ended up sending my book to folks who said they had a TV station, but they didn't really have a TV station. What they had is an Amazon sell page, and they got my book for free, my paperback, and they put it on Amazon for cheaper than what I was selling it for, and tried to resell it. And in which case, we all know Amazon doesn't pay you for people who do that. So,
nope.
And that's what I found. That's what I ran into, and I was really disappointed by that. I did get one review, a legitimate review, from the Chicago Sun-Times, actually, which was really nice. That was really cool. But otherwise, I mean, that was the biggest name that I've ever come across in my time of promoting. But it helped me, it boosted me for a day, and didn't do anything after that. But That's.
Did you get sales?
So there's. I'm sorry.
Did you get sales from that?
Yeah, I got a couple. For me, in my marketing experiencing, my most effective selling tool has been the festivals. And I know, Jin, for you, that's something you can't do. That sucks, because I can tell you, I've been to 3 book festivals, and I've sold 3 times as many books as I've ever sold anywhere else. So in one day.
Wow.
But that doesn't. But here's the thing you were saying, Karina, about you don't pay attention to Amazon, or you're kind of done with that aspect of it, and that's why I'm kind of done with it, because that doesn't affect Amazon rankings at all, because I'm selling them. I bought them and I'm selling them, but it puts more money in my pocket. That's for sure. And that was so.
Yeah.
But in the end, it doesn't do anything for me. But do that. And Angela has some breaking news.
Yes, I do. 2 things. We have Matt William Harrell wanting to join this conversation. How do we get England on the line?
I will send him the link.
Wonderful. The second thing is we are getting comments on YouTube. Did you know this?
I did not see those. No, I don't want to pull up the link because it's live and it will.
I muted it. I muted my link. I have it up at all times, so I have the YouTube link and I've got Google Plus link, and I muted the one for YouTube. That way I can grab that link and pass it around to everything.
Awesome.
But we have Skylar Nightingale said, I just started a campaign on NetGalley through a blogging company. What do you guys think about NetGalley? We also have, okay, I'll try my hand at Spanish as well. Albertico says, promo quiero llegar esta semana a 300 subs. I cannot translate that because it's been like 7 años since I took Spanish.
If you can type it, I'll translate it. I speak Spanish.
Wonderful.
Oh,
Esta semana, it's over on YouTube. Let me send it over to you now. This is phenomenal that you speak Spanish.
It's so funny. I didn't even think to mute my YouTube channel. That's so funny, Angela.
It's all right. It took me a while to figure it out. I'm like, I gotta have this link up.
I've been up since 4 a.m.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
If you give me the link, then I can.
Let me see here.
Email me the link, then I'll go there and I'll help with that.
All right, there you are. All right, I'll go ahead and I have your.
And if you guys want to know, I'm with Book Social. I joined them for the middle price range, which to help me boost. But the biggest thing that I learned from them is not the boost. The boost is great. They tweet for me, and they give all these options. But what the biggest thing that I got from them is how to make my page and make my presentation more professional. That's one thing that I was able to get to garner from being with them. The second thing is, and I'm just give me 30 seconds. The second thing is, Angela mentioned someone was asking a question about NetGalley, and through Booksko Social, someone brought this topic up there as well. And NetGalley is what the professionals use, and it's what libraries and bookstores use to wean out what they want. But it's also really expensive. So during that conversation, someone else brought up another option, which is Expresso. Expresso blog tours will put you on NetGalley for a lot cheaper because they have some cross-promotion thing with them. So I'm trying that out next month. The waiting list is long. That's all I can say. I'm a month behind on trying that out. So we'll see what happens. Sorry, go ahead, Karina.
I was just going to say about Go Social. I know there are hundreds of people on it, and hopefully it's working for them. I have actually just received my refund from them because it didn't work for me, which they actually say that it's 100%. If it doesn't work, we'll give you your money back. There is that there is no catch or anything, which is true. I did get my money back. It didn't work for me. But NetGalley, I have heard that it's very, very expensive. So anyone that goes with that promotion, I wish them all the best, and I hope it works.
Jin, I went ahead and sent you the link through Goodreads. It should be in your direct messaging, so you'll be able to access the YouTube link, and then you can be our official Spanish speaker.
I got it right here.
Wonderful.
Let me see. Let me find that comment, and then you guys.
Yep, it's on the right-hand side.
Publish is another one of those guys that you have to be qualified to get into, and a lot of these promo sites, they qualify you by your amount of reviews and your ranking and things like that. A lot of them don't use the ranking anymore because, as we've all talked about already, how it's an algorithm and not really a true testament of what you're doing. But a lot of them also ask for your social reach now too, so another reason to get your Twitter up, you get your Google Plus up, because if you want to be on those sites, and they are effective, Publish is very good at what it does, and a lot of these companies are very good at what they do. That's why they're in business, and they can charge the amount they charge because they know they're effective.
Yeah.
So you get on there and you do those things. As a starting author, I think the charge for any starting author, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, is get your stuff out there as much as you can on social media and get as many reviews as you can right away. But also, don't dismiss the reach of freedom. The free reaches like Twitter and Google Plus and all that can be used effectively. Jin mentioned something about his impressions. I can tell you that I use CoPromote as well. CoPromote is a great tool to increase the Twitter reach that you get. I get, on average now, I'm really starting to get into the Twitter thing, and I've been into it, as most anybody who knows me knows. But and I get emails about being annoyed that my friend timeline is covered in your Twitters. Sorry, people. But and I don't discern between author and personal, and I should, and I haven't got around to doing that. I don't feel like an author yet because I have one book. I mean, I am an author, but I'm not somebody who has a reach that goes well beyond the scope of being separate from one another. Plus, I like talking to my friends, and I like having people as friends, not just as readers. And that's kind of how I am. But anyway, I'm sorry, I digress. I get Spanish for you on average of 150,000 impressions by effectively marketing my tweets, and that's what I was getting at. I get to most of my top guys right now are in the 350s to 400,000 impressions. So, go ahead, Jim.
Oh, sorry. Well, I have good news and bad news for Angela here.
Oh, okay.
The good news is, I can speak Spanish and I can read Spanish fluently. The bad news is what that says. It says, "Dear Mr. Promo, would you like to get to 300 subs this week?"
Oh, no!
We got spam!
I love spam! Spam. Okay. I get spam!
We've arrived, everybody. Everybody, we've officially arrived. We've been spammed.
I don't like spam!
Hey, I'll take a viewer any way I can get it. I will take a viewer any way I can get it. So keep spamming us, please. I'll ignore them all day, but come watch us, because that just helps everybody by you.
My goodness.
Our numbers. So
Okay.
go right ahead and do that.
We need to take a moment here. I got people asking how to join. We have Skylar Nightingale wanting to join us. We need a system to help people get an invite in. So, Joe, what do we do? What do we do?
Yeah, it's kind of hard because I don't want to post it publicly and have a bunch of people in here that I can't control. So
Yeah.
This is what I will do, because they're messaging me, which is fine. I just need to find a way to get them to you without using email.
Just have them message me, or I can send whoever you want to message me. Whoever wants to be in,
Okay.
I can send them the link.
All right, and I'll do the filtering.
Matthew Harold said, by the way, he's on a bus right now, so he's not going to join in until a little bit later. But
my goodness, I just got a face. All right. All right, I will send Skylar over.
I have a question from Charlene Jones, our own Charlene Jones. Actually, I got a couple questions. Let's start with this one. What do you all think of groups like Binderful or of Memoirists, which is by invite only? What do you think of groups like those on Facebook that are open?
Invite-only groups. Yeah, invite-only groups. I tend to see them a little bit on the outskirt, and if I get an invite, I'll check out what they're doing before I even decide if I want to join or not. The reason is because invite-only groups tend to be very restrictive of how you can present yourself. The ones that I found. I was introduced to one recently, and it's a readers group, but you're not allowed to talk about your own work unless you ask for permission and they give you specific guidelines of what you can say. I'm still deciding whether or not I'm going to join that group or not. But before I let this off, and there's a reason why I jumped in first. I'm being rude, but there's a reason why I jumped in first when everyone has something to say. What I wanted to say before the question was asked was, Joe, if you're getting people invited in, what you can do is you can have a rotating system where some people can rotate out and the new ones can rotate in.
That
way it's easier to control for you.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to make sure everybody's included. I understand that there's a lot of people who want to speak, and I knew this was going to happen as soon as we started getting going. But I can include as up to 10 people. So if I get to a point where I have to do that, I'll start doing that. But I don't want to exclude anybody. Anybody wants to bow out, they're welcome to. Anybody wants to come in are welcome to. But
we're limited on I think we can only bring in 8 people, and we're going to be rotating this all. And I'm going to be leaving us in about, actually now, because I need to head over to Facebook because I have to do a book reveal.
Awesome.
And I'm so excited. I will be promoting myself, or Bergen will be, for the next hour. So I will be on Facebook, and then after that is over, I think I have an appearance on Helldat, but as soon as my appearances are all over, I'll be back with you, Joe. So in the meantime, check your Goodreads messages.
Angela and everybody out there at 10 o'clock Pacific my time, which is an hour from now, to 11 o'clock, I'm running the book trailer hour in place of live coverage because I have something I have to do real quick. And plus I need to eat, because if I don't eat, my wife will be mad. So I will bow out at 10 o'clock Pacific, which is 1 o'clock Eastern, for about an hour, and then I'll be back after that. And,
okay.
And then, so anybody 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, will restart. But I'm here. We're here for another hour anyway, so everybody strap in and enjoy.
And I'll be stepping out of here probably in about 30 minutes to try to figure out how to get onto the romance panel, which also starts in about an hour.
Okay, and you said this is at 1 o'clock, correct?
Yes.
All right, let me check my schedule. I have apparently nothing happening at 1. So, Joe, if you want, I can jump on at 1. We can do you'll need to join me, and then you can depart, and I'll entertain for an hour. Let me entertain. Okay.
Well, I have the book trailer hour running on the channel, so if anybody.
All right, that's fine. Yeah, that's great. So.
But you can set up you want to set up the Google Hangout? That's fine. I can do that too.
Okay.
I can run the trailer hour at some other point.
Okay.
I'm really sad. I'm going to be here forever until someone kicks me off.
Oh,
I will be here.
That's great for all of us.
I will be there, Karina. I will definitely be joining you. So, and I think when Joe leaves, you're just like muting your camera and walking away, aren't you?
Yeah, I probably will do that. So I can leave this open if everybody
Yeah,
wants to come in.
absolutely, because this is the link I'm posting everywhere, and I'm getting ready to blast it out to our 308 authors. We are up to 720 members over at Goodreads, and we're starting to see them pour in because they just got the announcement. So we are blasting out all over the place, and authors who are participating, take this link and post it whatever social media you are using. I will be sending out the link here on a bulletin in about 5-10 minutes. So you'll have the YouTube link to post wherever. So we're going to go ahead and do some name dropping now. We do have C.L. Schneider is bowing out. She's closing her hour. I will be going in. Matthew William Harrell will be coming in. He'll be entertaining us. Yeah, that's right. We'll have Matthew here as soon as he gets off the bus. It'll be an exciting hour.
He said he's on his way. So.
Yes, wonderful. So it is going to pick up. We are really looking forward to a lot of activity going on. And, of course, everything's happening over at Facebook and Goodreads. Just type in B2B SciCon or Brain to Books Cyber Convention or Google it, and everything will pop up. So, and, of course, everything's posted on my site as a map, www.angelabchrysler.com. And I'm leaving now. And there's my fire horn to tell me my time is up. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and leave this up. I'm just going to go ahead and mute my camera. So don't kick me out, Joe. I'm not closing anything down.
Yeah,
don't kick me out. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
So, Joe, what other questions do we have on YouTube or
let's see what's
Facebook?
going on here. I'm getting bombarded now. It's pretty awesome. Charlene wants to also know, she had another question, how do tweets translate to clicks and buys? You want to start us off, Jim? I mean, I can go into it pretty good, but
well, the best one, there's another woman that I met through Books Go Social, and again, when I refer to Books Go Social, I'm not referring just to what they do, but the people that I've met through them, which is actually what I find more valuable. This woman basically says, to get a buy from a book, you're looking at trying to get your book in front of the same reader at least 7 times. So before you look at it as a click as well, you're going to want to have your tweets out there enough times where it gets retweeted by other people, where it'll show up in the feed of your intended reader for your genre at least 7 times and up to get that interest rate, and that interest rating up in your tweet, and that gets you the click. Transferring that click into a buy is up to how you have your book presented with your book cover, how you have your blurb set up, and if you're able to garner reviews from other people and beta readers who will present you in a very favorable way. That's what I see it as. Joe?
Yeah, I think those are all great. I also think that getting clicks doesn't necessarily mean into buys either, because that just means it clicked onto the Amazon page. But to get people to buy, I think it starts with the Amazon page. I think that's where it really begins, because if you don't have an engaging blurb, or you don't have something that's going to engage the clicker, they're not going to click on it anyway. They're not going to buy it. So what Twitter is effective at is getting you to that click, and then what you do to sell yourself is the way you get somebody to buy it. But to get the clicks, you just have to make it visible to the person interested, and make sure that you have, every time you do a tweet, you have a link to whatever page you want them to click on, if it's Smashwords or Amazon or where Barnes & Noble. I do try to do 3 or 4 posts where I have just the Barnes & Noble, just the Amazon, just the Smashwords, and those are effective too because they spread across different platforms. But you know, I think for the most part, the Amazon page is the most effective way to get somebody to buy something. Not to get the clicks for Twitter. It's it's a science, as Jim was explaining, but it is also finding your audience and engaging them with the right hashtag and making sure that every time you do a posting, you have your link in there. Don't exclude the link. I mean, I've seen a lot of people make that mistake so often, and it's the wrong thing to do. You always want to have a website link in your Twitter feed. Anybody else have anything to add to that?
Karina has her book up.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, Karina. Go for it.
That's all right. I was just going to say with Twitter for the authors, always post either a teaser or a book cover or a book trailer. The image on Twitter is what gets you the clicks and gets people to take notice. Just posting on Twitter, they're just going to flick past it. It's the images that attract people. So always post some sort of image. Even if you've done your cover 20,000 times and you want to post something else, okay, post a picture that relates to your book, but use an image for all your Twitter posts.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. If I can add a final thing, you want to also try to rotate your hashtags.
Mm-hmm.
The reason is because when you rotate your hashtags, you can have the same sentence. For example, one of my tweets is something like, it has my link to my book, and it says something like, Robert, do you know what love is? He does. And by rotating the hashtags, I can keep the same tweet, and that will allow me to reach more people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's very true. And look for trending things too. I mean, on the right-hand side or on the left-hand side of everybody's Twitter feed are the trending topics, and a lot of those times they'll tell you what people are clicking on. And yeah, you don't want to be that guy that uses hashtag dirty shoe to sell your romance novel, but there are certain indicators sometimes, like Kindle Books pops up constantly as a trending topic. I got lucky, and Straight Outta Compton came out last year as a movie, and I was able to use that effectively as a hashtag. But look for those things that you can use for a hashtag. If for example, if you're a romance novelist and you're not tweeting love, hashtag love on February 14th, you're missing the whole point of Twitter, being a Twitter.
You missed one. You missed one, Joe. Netflix just came out with a romance drama called Love.
Yeah. Right. So
I used it. I've used it, and I've used it, and I've used it.
Yeah, it's so effective to know that, and also within your networks, look at what people are using. If you retweet something and you use that hashtag in the retweet and then your own tweet, that just tripled the exposure of that hashtag, and that continually puts that in motion, and that's how it gets trending. Is somebody? It doesn't trend from somebody starting the hashtag. It trends from somebody retweeting that retweets that retweets this, and then uses that hashtag to do their own tweet. Yeah. And that's how those things start to tumble and become trending. And that's what you have to do.
And that's where YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all these social networks, they'll pick up on that, and they'll post for free, so you don't have to pay for it. They'll post what's trending, and if you're in that group, you'll get a free post.
Yep. And on top of that, if somebody's looking for something specific, and they use that hashtag and they search, I'm looking for a book within that hashtag, your post then go right to the top of the trend. So if you open up the trend, you open up a trend right now, and you look and you search for something within that trend, your tweet, if it's the only one about books, goes right to the top, and because it's looking not only for the hashtag, but it's looking for the keyword that is in that search that you're doing, because they want you to find exactly what you're looking for. And also on top of that, I would mention co-promote. Co-promote's a great way for people to retweet to their masses. I mean, a lot of people use Thunderclap, and there's another one, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. But
Head Talker.
I'm sorry?
Head Talker.
There you go. Yes, thank you. And co-promote is Thunderclap without having to get the followers. Now, what co-promote does so well that I think is very effective is that it makes you, if you want to stay free, you can pay to not do this. You pay to get your reach, but what they essentially do is it's I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
Yeah.
And basically you grab somebody's tweet and retweet it on your Twitter. That whatever their reach is then becomes your reach, and whoever picks you up has that many people to be able to tweet out to. And so the more you retweet, the more they pick the tweeters pick you up and retweet your stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a carousel of people helping other people, and I think that's why I like it so much. But
that's also why you have to space out your tweets.
Yes.
If you space out your tweets, that gives you that option in there to just hit retweet,
mm-hmm.
and build your audience.
Absolutely.
Let's see if I can get it up here real quick.
Stick the lifetime baby.
And inside co-promote, you only get the boost when you post, so you can effectively arrange yourself in the way that you're hitting track. And there you go. Let's get that up there.
So, I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yes.
But that's my Twitter impressions. And what I wanted to show was, if I look at my Twitter impressions and I go to my audience, in the work that I'm doing, my audience is books, news, and general info, and it's up. Just in the last 90 days, it's gone 1,800 people up.
Nice.
But if I go down here to the interest, though, the number 2 spot is romance.
Yeah.
So all that I built using basically the same things that Joe just said, and retweeting people, and also with Karina, adding that image, getting that extra little pop in there, because that shows your effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people appreciate that. Not only that, but it sparks people's interest right off the bat. I mean, you can go to your Twitter feed right now and look at how many the tweets there are, and how many you ignore just by your eye movement. Yeah. Not even by looking. You could sit there and literally pay as close attention as you want to, but I guarantee you miss at least 2 tweets, because the tweets are always refreshing, and your eyes will only catch what your eyes want to catch. And when they and that's how they catch it, is the visual. The image that you put on there is how your eyes are going to catch it. If you just tweet a line, most likely it'll get run over. And you'll never see it. Nobody will ever see it. And no matter how many followers you have, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the image. It's the image. It catches the eye.
Yeah. And I think that's where most people get frustrated with Twitter. I see that post quite often on Facebook or on Google Plus about, I just tweeted, I had amassed 15,000 followers, and I tweeted something, and I never sold anything. Playing the percentages is one approach to Twitter, but there is a strategic way to engage that and make that more effective for you. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to sell millions of copies by sending out 4 million tweets, but chances are.
I don't think Twitter helps with sales, but it helps get you and your book out there and noticed. And the more you do that, the more chance you have of someone saying, "Oh, I'd like to have a read of this." But it's to get noticed. I mean, Facebook. I think you sell more books on Facebook than you would do on Twitter. But Twitter is. I use Twitter basically to get my books out there.
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's the thing. And like for me, now that I've got my Facebook author page, for me, I use Twitter to get people to my blog or get people to my Amazon. And even my Amazon, if they go to my author page on Amazon, that's linked automatically to my website and my blog. So either way you go at it, if you go the back way around or if you go the front way around, you're still going to get to my books. And that's the main goal, is getting them to go where you want them, where they want to learn more about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's hay fever season here. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Any other questions, Joe?
No, people are just giving their thoughts about retweeting and stuff. Devora Fox says, retweeting, I've been betaing designfeed.io, which makes it easy to create images to tweet. That's a really good tip, because images do take up a lot of characters. Everybody who, maybe not everybody knows, but there are websites out there like tinyurl.com that will shrink your URL so that you're using as least amount of characters as you possibly can for a link. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, I use Booklinker. Booklinker is the one I use for all my books.
Mm-hmm.
Booklinker will do your Amazon page and all your book links into whatever characters, whatever you want done.
Yeah. If you guys don't mind, if Joe doesn't mind, if Karina doesn't mind, because I think there's only 3 of us on here right now, I'd like to move this discussion over to making your own book cover, just because there's some of us out there who don't have the funds to buy a book cover.
That's awesome. We were actually talking about that when you just got off air. Karina and I were talking about how easily it is to write to make your own paperback now, and spending little money because there's so many tools to do that. So go ahead, Jin, start us off.
All right. So when you're making your own book cover, you have to, and I'm gonna go the basic way, and then if questions pop up, I'll go ahead and try to fill in the spaces. When you look at a book cover, you can't look at it as a static image, as one picture. The book cover for my book here, this is actually, I think I got, at the very end, I was at 15 layers. And that's images on top of images on top of images, everything, including shadowing and everything. I use GIMP 2.0 to make my book covers. I prefer it to Adobe. I do. I used to use Adobe when it first came out, and I just don't like the way Adobe feels to me. So I use GIMP. You can use whichever one you want, as long as you got the layering, which is very, very useful. The fonts. If you look at if you were to see one of my first book covers that I ever came up with, and I think it's somewhere hidden in my blog somewhere because I don't delete anything. The fonts that come with the program that you're using for your pictures is not the font you want. I use the fonts from cooltext.com. They provide many different fonts, many different shadings. That's where I get mine. And so using that, plus using layering of pictures and layering of filters, you can actually build a great cover. Even my first romance cover, which doesn't look all that great, I don't know if you can see it. It's a little bit dark. There it is.
See it.
There it is. This is only one picture, and it has no layering whatsoever. And the font itself is not good. If you look at it closely, you can see a lot of pixelation. Taking that to the next one, where I have proper shadowing, I've even included a watermark style picture inside.
That's awesome.
Just to give it that little extra eerie feeling to it.
You're going to laugh, Jim, but I thought that was a smudge.
When you hold the book in your hand, you actually can see it.
I was going to say, when you first held it up, I noticed that spot, and I was like, oh, he's got a smudge on his book. Oh, man, I don't know if I should tell him or not.
It's actually... The reason why I put it that way, though, is because I wanted that watermark feel, though. And, yeah, it looks like a smudge through the TV. I can see that. I can see what you get.
It doesn't translate, but I mean, now that you pointed it out, I totally get what it is.
Yeah. And the layering, and working with my model, I was able to get quite a few different pictures for it. And I have different ones buried throughout the cover. That allows you to build that depth that pulls the reader in. So when you're thinking about your book cover, you don't want to think of just one image. You want to think of the feeling or the background that your story has. And when you look at this book cover, and then you look at the book cover for my newest release, which was just released 2 weeks ago, they're completely different, even though the stories are connected, because the feelings of both books are different, and the way they're told is different. So when you're building your book cover, all of this has to come into you. And when you try it out, you must use techniques that you can practice over and over and over again. And I cannot stress this enough. The first book cover you make, no matter if you spend a week, a day, 2 months building, you have to throw that book cover away. You do. Because from that book cover to where I am now, to the step, it's just leaps and bounds. So,
it's like never, ever, ever publish your first draft, right? That's what that's basically saying.
Yeah. And I wonder. I know I have the book somewhere buried, but it's a horrible book cover. The very first book that I ever published with that book cover, it's.
How do you do yours, Karina? I mean, you talked about.
Well, with the collection, let me just. Right. Well, in Times of Violence, this was actually designed by a friend of mine who's also an author, and we're going back now quite a few years. It's just been updated for the actual. I believe this is the paperback, but the Kindle has a new cover. So this was designed free of charge for me by another artist. This one, Road Rage. This was done free on Lulu. It was just a photograph that I could choose, and then just some lettering. So this is for the paperback, and then again the Kindle has the new cover. With Huntress, that was designed by. Is the light getting in the way here? That was designed by the publisher's artist. Basically, I told them what I wanted, and they did, and then I had to go with, because it was a publisher, I had to go with what they wanted. And then the last one, no, it's not last, it was the third one in the series, Lawless Justice. Again, this was done free of charge for me by an artist, and again, it's been updated for the Kindle. So all of my books have been basically done free for me. I've never had to design my own. I think if you research and you're clever enough and you ask around, you can get people to do it for you, and whether or not other people class them as good covers or talented or not, if you like it, if that's what you want for your book, go for it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people. There's a lot of comments going on the YouTube channel right now about how people judge book by cover, and be cautious of of the designing. But I mean, the elements and the technology is in place to help you get a better design done, just as Jin was explaining. So if you can do that, if you're savvy enough, there's no reason why you can't produce a quality cover. But there are resources out there. I was mentioning earlier in talking to Karina about Fiverr is a great resource. If you're looking for an inexpensive way, 99 Designs, Design Crowd, those are places that you can solicit contesting artists to create something if you're looking to do that way as well. My book was actually, my cover was designed from a Design Crowd contest I ran, and it wasn't cheap, but if you're looking for inexpensive, free ways to do it, there are a lot of artists out there. What I would caution people on with the free ones is the ones that have the built-in templates and things like that. Just be careful of. I mean, if it's what you want, then that's fine. And like Karina said, your book is your own. So don't. If you listen to everything everybody said, you would never do anything. So but at the same token, look carefully and make sure that it is what you want, because if you make that choice, it's very hard to go back. And I've seen a lot of people do a redesign of their cover after it gets stale after a while, after it goes obsolete. So there's always that option too. So keep those in mind.
No, I agree.
Any other questions there?
Let's see. I'll see if we can see if anybody's got anything for us here.
I'm trying to find them myself, but I'm having problems here trying to find them.
Yeah, I don't see any.
Yeah.
But I see some great comments. The Skylar says used to have Fiverr for both of his books.
Yeah. That's a really good resource. Also.
Really quick shout out to Rebecca Jonesy. She's the one that I told you guys earlier. So she's watching us on YouTube.
Yay! Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
Let's talk about the back cover portion of the book and how important that is. I know that drives a lot of authors crazy. So blurbing is, I see that as one of the most frustrating things people go through on Facebook and social media sites. People talking about that all the time. For me, it's pretty easy because I come from the filmmaking world because of making trailers, and I do it, visually is the same concept as writing it out, and because a lot of times when you design the trailer, you do have pre-made video footage, but you also do write it out to make sure that this goes to this point. I think that's helpful, is to make sure you hit all the major points. Anybody want to jump in and talk about the back cover and how they approach the blurbing?
I can.
Okay.
Go ahead, Karina.
Okay. For this this novella of mine, Stone Cold, which is a young adult supernatural thriller, the main cover, as you can see, it's just got a pair of eyes and the actual stone of the necklace, which is one of the main plot of the story. But on the back, we have the scary staircase going down to the cellar. And, you don't, like you're saying, I mean, when you buy a paperback, you've got it forever, and you're going to look at the back, you're going to see the cover. With the Kindle and on Amazon, except for the blurb that's actually printed on the description of the book, you're not actually going to see any of these designs or icons, or actually know what they are. I mean, this is one of the tags to one of the motorcycle gangs from Huntress. And then you have Lawless Justice, which is about the vigilante biker gang. Again, on the back, another image of the paw, which is on the back of the jackets. But for a paperback, it's great. But for Kindle, what's the use of doing an image?
That's actually a good question. What's the use of doing an image? Let me show you mine. Let me show you a bad one first, and you've seen this already, Karina and Joe. Let me show you a bad one first, and then we'll show you a good one. This is bad. You can't read the wording. The shading is off.
Not only that, but it only covers about a tenth of the books, the back of the book.
Yeah. So that's bad. Now, if we look at the remake of this book, and it's the same book, just better. And you look at the back here. My model covers the whole of the back. And yeah, the blurb still covers what it does, but again, it's easier to read. It tells you more in this one simple picture in the back. Now, not every book will carry something on the back because some people like to put it on the inside. There's that old traditional fashion of having it on the inside leaflet, where you have it just on the inside of the page. You have something there. But I think we put too much emphasis on what it has to say in the back. Because me as a reader, when I go into the bookstore and I actually pick up a book off the shelf to read it, I never look at the back. I know I should, but the back's where the price is. So I'd never look at the back. I actually open up to chapter 1, and then after I read 3 pages in chapter 1, I actually jump to the middle of the book and read 2 or 3 pages.
No!
That's my way, because that way I can say I want to finish this book. Now, what you're not going to like is in Japan, and what the culture does here is they will actually sit in a bookstore and read the entire book before deciding to buy it or not.
Wow.
And so you have people who will read your book for free and then put it back on the shelf and say, I'm not going to buy this book. So it's one of those things where you have to look at it that way, and I'm trying not to do that because I don't have the time to sit in a bookstore and read the whole book. But I'll pick it up and I will read part of the beginning and in the middle. I'll never read the end because I want to save something. But I never look at the back.
That's why Starbucks in Barnes & Noble...
Yeah.
Because Starbucks still thought, hey, look, they're sitting in these little chairs in the corner reading books. Why not let's feed them some coffee so they can stay here longer and read a couple more books?
Yeah.
That's what they've done. I only have one Barnes & Noble that still exists where I live. Well, 2, but one's a little bit further away from me than one other one. The one that's nearest to me is a big one, and it has the big Starbucks right in the middle, and you'll see not just one person with one book, you'll see one person with a stack of books and a giant venti coffee, and that's what they're doing there. They're going to spend their entire day sitting there and reading books, and never probably...
Would they buy the book after? I mean, would they go out and buy the book if they like it?
I don't know. I've never sat and watched them all the way through their process, so I don't know if they actually read the book and then go up to the cash register and pay for it. I don't know if that happens. I'm sure it does. Or maybe they get halfway into it and go, I got to have this book and read it. But I don't know. I don't know if that happens, but I think more of what Jin is saying happens more often than not, and I could be wrong. I'm not, like I said, I've never sat and actually watched somebody from the moment they picked up the book and sat down and read it to the end, till they got to the end. I have time on my hands, but I don't have that much time.
Well, you can start the new trend. You know, let's sit at Starbucks and just watch people read books and see what they do.
Yeah, let's get somebody to do a blog on that for us. If somebody out there want to volunteer and do a blog, We're
over here on the island, we don't have bookshops, we don't have a library, so we certainly don't have a Starbucks. So you're so privileged.
Well, as an author, it irks me a little bit, but you know, I mean, hey, you're sitting there reading my book for free, but hey, if you like it, you end up telling like 50 people that you read it. So
Yeah.
that's where the benefit comes, I think. You know, so I don't frown upon it. I mean, it's their model that they're in business to do whatever they're in business to do, and I think it's part of the reason why they're dying. But you know, the other reason is what I expressed in my first episode. The reason they're dying is because they don't cater to the authors that want to be on their shelves. You know, they try and make sure that George R. R. Martin, and there's nothing wrong with George R. R. Martin books, don't misrepresent what I'm saying here. But they try to make sure that whatever's trending gets on there first. So, and
this is what we're saying about the stigma again. It's the stigma of indie authors that are stopping getting our books to the big stores and in the bookshelves and on the bookshelves and in the libraries. It's because of this stigma.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, back to the topic at hand. I mean, to go off on a tangent there. That's just. You know, so I think the any eyes you get on your book is a good thing. No matter how it is. I mean, I know that a lot of people have discovered that their books are getting traded on eBay or sold on eBay, and they're upset about it because they lose sales, and there is a reason to be upset about that. But also, there's a reason to rejoice that, I think, too, in that you can get people to actually look at your book, and maybe, just maybe, that turns a trend for you. I don't know, but maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But, you know, so how did approaching the blurb aspect of it, again, Karina, what is your typical, because you said you don't have bookshops, so how do you, when you're looking as a reader, pick up a book and decide I'm going to buy this book?
Any books that I buy are from online stores.
Yeah.
So it's the cover first that attracts me. I will then read the blurb, and I will then look at the reviews.
Sorry, real quick, I've got to go. I got the romance panel. You guys have a good one.
Bye, Jen. We'll see you later.
Bye.
See you later.
So yeah, I mean, that's you're right. We are spoiled a little bit and privileged here because we get to be on, you know, we get so many resources and avenues to have access to books. And do you have libraries there?
No, I'm on a little island in, an island in Greece. It's no, we don't have a library. We don't have bookstores, and the bookstores that we do have are academic ones for the schools. And so, if they do have any novels, they're going to be the big bestsellers, and of course in Greek.
Yeah. Did you translate your books into Greek?
No, I haven't even thought about that. That's try and get some sales in English first.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Because I had read once upon a time that thrillers in my genre was very popular in Germany, and they tend to not like English translated into English books. So I had looked into getting translated before, and I had mixed feelings about it, you know. But if you have a marketplace that dictates sales, I mean, it's certainly something to think about, right? I mean.
Yeah, oh yeah, most definitely is, yeah. It's just that, I mean, I can't just imagine my books English into Greek. It's just going to lose everything, you know, it's just, they're just not, There'll be no passion, there'll be no emotion. It's like when you want your book to be written as a script. Okay, you have in your book you're writing about the character's thoughts, but on the script and on the film you can't show that on film.
Right.
So it's the same with translation from one language to another. You're going to lose a lot of that from the translation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Hang on just a second. Somebody's asking to join us. So I'm going to jump on there and get them the link. Okay.
So if anyone really likes fantasy and they'd like to try something new, this is called Illusional Reality, and it's my latest release, and you can get it from Kindle and Lulu, Barnes & Noble and Smashwords. And it's going from transferring from England, UK. Becky, she's a city girl, but she's actually Thaya from Ticinia, a magical world, another dimension, where she's actually the heir of Ticinia, and she has magical powers that she doesn't even know of. So if you can imagine a character or yourself to suddenly be told that your whole life is a lie, that your parents weren't your parents, that you don't even belong there, and you belong here with us, and you're very powerful. First of all, you're not going to believe it, which is why this is called Illusional Reality, because she thinks she's dreaming it all. And secondly, are you going to accept what they say? When she arrives there, not only is she told that everything that she knew was a lie, she's then told that her whole life has been planned out for her. A marriage, what she has to do, how she has to be the saviour and save all her people. And she just turns around and says, who do you think you are? You know, how dare you tell me what my life and what I have to do? I mean, she's a strong-willed woman. She's a executive marketing in England, in the UK, and to suddenly be told that this is your life and this is what you have to do. So, yeah, she doesn't agree with it. She doesn't accept it, and that causes a lot of problems as well. Finally, when she does accept things, we then have a triangle, a relationship triangle, which is very, very different from your normal three-way. The guy that she falls in love with, she cannot be in love with because it's against the code. He cannot be in love with her because he's betrothed. And the gentleman that she's supposed to be engaged with, betrothed to, he actually doesn't want to marry her, but they're doing it just to make peace between the two lands. So it is a romance, but it's more into the human condition, about love, a sacrifice, acceptance, courage. This is what my book is about, but it's a fun read, and I'm sure you'll all enjoy it. So go out and get Illusional Reality by Karina Gantus.
Yay!
Just plug that there.
Very cool. That's awesome. Talk about your poetry a little bit while I'm still doing this, because I know you're
poetry
about all that. I said, talk about your poetry a little bit.
I wouldn't class myself as a poet, and I certainly don't have the passion for it, because if I try and read poetry, if I try and read poetry, I just don't enjoy reading it. It's very strange. And yet I have written poetry, and I have published quite a few poems in magazines and books. And this collection, which is, let me just find it, Undress, which is free on Smashwords if anyone wants to go and get it. This has some of my published poetry. I think I have to be in the right frame of mind to write poetry. I can't just go out and. But I just want to quickly read you one. This happened when I had a really bad situation where I was actually bullied on Facebook by some local friends, and they were, you know, people that I really cared about, not virtual friends, actual friends, and it was just a really, really stressful and depressing time, and I just felt like I had no one and that I was being scrutinized. So this is called Light and Dark, and it's only going to take a few seconds to read.
Sure, please do.
Darkness surrounds me. I no longer see the light. Words taunt and voices slice viciously. Whispers spoken and rumors released. Those who were friends become enemies. Name forgotten, respect is lost. The war begins, none to fight for me. Head down, eyes diverted, afraid to speak, afraid to look. Rage and hurt blankets my smile, while the knife impels me deeper. When all seems lost and black, she enters, bringing sunshine and hope. Embraced in her soft warmth, my soul lightens. Tomorrow I will face another day of torture with words, but knowing she's waiting for me, with a smile of love, the tunnel of light remains. This was, I just had my child, my first little baby, and she was the one who kept me going through all these dark times, just holding her and looking at her and seeing her smile at me. Unconditional love. That's what got me through. So that's what the poem was about.
That's what love should do. Very cool. Very neat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm still here smiling. So, Joe, let's talk about you. You say you don't class yourself as an author because you've only published one book.
Yeah, I mean, I don't classify myself as a full-time author or somebody who's doing it, you know, to make a living or doing it right now. You know, I just don't. I think you have to have multiple books out to really be that, to show that you're serious and committed to being that path or walking that path. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
I disagree with that, Joe. As soon as you're published, you are an author. Well, you're selling your work. You are selling your book. Yeah. You've written it. You have the passion, and you're going to write more. And you're good, and your reviews are excellent, and people love your work. You are an author. I have 10 books. I'm not a full-time author.
Yeah.
But I'm an author. You have one book. You're an author. Do not class yourself. Don't put yourself in another category.
Well,
okay, you deserve to have that title.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I am. I say I'm an author, but you know, it's just that you know, I don't know how to really describe it and put it together. But yeah, I did write a book and I did publish it, and it is out there, and I have sold copies, and I have had it reviewed. So yes, I would say that I'm an author in that regard. But you know, in terms of ultimate pursuits and full time, you know, going after this as what I'd be all end all am doing with my life, that's just, I am kind of the guy who has like 4 or 5 fishing poles in the water, you know, and that could be a good thing and a bad thing. It's hurt me and helped me, but you know, I want to write more and have more books published, and I will, but it's just I like to
finding the time.
Yeah, well, and I am not the one who subscribes to the dictation of the audience saying, "Hey, when's your next book coming out?" And you know, I write at my speed and my pace, and again, that's a good thing and a bad thing. you know, and I'm probably losing more audience than I'm gaining by doing that, but it's just the way that I operate, you know. And it's hard to change that once you're in, you know, doing what you do. So, you know, that's why I say
it's motivation. You've got to be motivated to write. You write when you're ready to write. You don't force yourself to write. I know people say, and even best-selling authors, they say in their memoirs or whatever, they say, oh, make sure you write every day. But no, I think that's a big mistake. I think when you write when you really want to write and you have the passion to do it, that's when the words are going to come out. That's when the emotion's going to come out. When you force yourself to write, you're bound to look at it 3 days, 4 days later and say, oh God, what is this?
Yeah, you know, there's a great comment on YouTube by Rebecca Jonesy, who talks about the author's fear of success and feeling of unworthiness is well documented and is one of the keys to failure. You know, that's very true. I mean, I think success is more, you know, people find success to be more scary than failure, you know, and a lot of people don't know how to handle it, you know, if it comes. But you know, that's not the case with me in terms of that. But you know, it's just I like to do other things and other pursuits, and that's why I think as an author you have to be really dedicated because the only way you sell and get yourself out there is by getting yourself out there and spending the time to do that. You know what I mean? So that's where
it takes a lot of time.
That's where I don't classify myself in that. I did that for a year, and I was very happy with what I did. But I just I'm happy to let it be right now and pursue my avenues that I need to pursue. So you know.
Good for you. No, I think that's fantastic. But I mean, even what you're doing, even with your filming, it's all to do with being an author and helping other authors and helping the indie community, and you're still working within that society. So even though you're not publishing any more books, you're still an author, and you're still in, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Are you working on something right now, Karina?
No, not at all. No, this just came out after 10 years of when I first wrote it. 10 years. I finally got this one published. There may be another one next year. For now, I'm a VA. I help other authors with their promotion and helping them market. I do my narrations, I make book trailers, and so all the services I provide take up a lot of my time, as well as promoting. I'm not promoting just one book of mine, you see, I'm promoting all 8. So it's like, okay, we'll do this one tomorrow, and we'll do this one, you know, we'll have 10 minutes on this one, and so it's it makes it harder. It actually makes it harder to have more books and less.
Yeah, sure. I just want to let everybody know, too, that Aurelia's panel is beginning here pretty quickly. So anybody who wants to go talk about romance or you know, look at romance, that's a good place. That's where Jen is now. And they're going to explore all of that, and that's a good panel to be on and to watch. I am here with Karina Kontas, who is the author of Illusional Reality and many other books, as we've been discovering. She has a whole series of books out. And we're talking about everything and anything. So if you have a question for us, please do ask it. I'm monitoring. Go to the YouTube and just put a comment in there, and I'm monitoring that. I'm monitoring Twitter as well. So if you have a comment there. But we're just here talking about everything we're talking about. So, you know, I think it's just a wonderful, wonderful conference, convention so far. There's a lot going on, you know. Have you moseyed around the grounds at all, Karina? You looked at some things that are going on, or you
I've looked at a couple of booths to see I've looked at a couple of booths to see what's going on. I wish I knew about the cover wars. Oh my gosh. I would have entered my book straight away and I didn't know.
Yeah. They have that's a popular one always with these things is the cover war thing. Yeah, I think a lot of people came onto this late and but the great thing about this is that we already know there will be next year. So next year is a good opportunity to just get your feet wet here, see what there is to do. Well, most of those things will continue onwards and upwards, and that'll be where we're at. Angela just dropped back in. Hi, Angela.
Hi, I'm here just for a few minutes. I want to let Karina know, and also anyone else who's interested. We do have a lot of people coming in last minute, and there will be people on the 10th of April who find this place, and they'll be like, "Where have I been?"
Yeah.
It's okay. There will be another one next year. It is an annual event, and we do have it set up so that use this year as a learning experience if it's your first year. And last year we had 160 members. This is blows my mind. I got the idea and I posted it out to Google Plus in a group I was in. And at that time I was thinking about it just being a blog tour. By the end of that day I was like, no, let's do a whole thing. Let's not just do a blog tour. So I passed it out to all the authors I knew. I blasted it through every social media that I had. And it brought in 160 members max. And we found out later that we had forgotten to invite the readers. So we were 160. Oops. So we were 160 authors selling to the same 160 authors. But it was oops. But it was a trial run. When we were done, the networking was phenomenal. And when we were done, we're like, oh, we got to do this again next year. And I didn't even do it. Somebody else did. I'm going to give him a shout out, Ashley Capes. Hello, Ash. Phenomenal author. Take a look at his books. He's a fantasy author. Wonderful writing. Ashley Capes posted out any plans for 2017, and he just ran with it. And I'm like, yeah, that's a really good idea. Let's go ahead and start brainstorming. I had people who literally brainstormed for an entire year. I was one of them. So that by the time this year came around, we really went all out. And, of course, latecomers are going to get here, and they're going to be like, I have ideas, too. So it's an absolute open event. If you have an idea, bring it. We'll take it.
Awesome. Very cool. Are you sticking around, or you go?
I have 5 minutes, so I'm going to close out, and then I will be jumping right back, probably in 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay, because I got to go. So.
Okay, well, if you want, I'll just stay here and talk to Karina while I post. Did you get any comments?
Right now, because I was doing the same thing to her earlier.
Did you send out anything to Matt Harrell? Did you hear from him?
I asked him what his email was. I need his email to send out.
I am sending it to you because.
Let me do that real quick. Skylar is going to jump on after the panel. I would assume Jen will come back as well. They're on the romance panel, so they'll come back when that's over.
Right.
And Lydia Shearer also asked to jump in. I don't know where she's at, but.
Okay. And who were these again? I'm sorry. Could you give me the names?
Yeah. So Skylar Nightingale. Yeah. She's on the romance panel right now, so she's not. Okay.
I'm sending you her email. Who else do we have?
Oh, I already.
Oh, you're all set.
Yeah, I already invited them.
Oh, okay, great.
Matthew is the only one I haven't invited.
All right, well, there's the email. It's blank. It says nothing, but you have his email address, so now you can pass him the invite. So it's really sad that I have access to. I feel like I'm playing a massive game of chess right now. I am closing up my Facebook event here. I just posted my new books. Woohoo! So, okay, this is great. So I'm live. So I'm talking to Timothy Bateson right now. He says, wow, the Fire and Lies cover is just as gorgeous as the Dollar and Shadow cover. And I'm going to say, thank you, Timothy! This is really awesome. I should, let me see if I can repost here. And I actually just blasted out the YouTube live coverage again. So I'm going to go ahead and coming to you straight from Facebook. We are over on the Facebook Takeover Cyber Convention and Book Expo now. So I'm going to go ahead and blast out a, hey everyone, tune in. I'm talking about you. All right, and I'm going to repost our link here so people can jump in, and then we'll be able to do a little bit of coverage over on Facebook. And while we're doing this, Joe can bow out and go eat food and take a nap because he's been up since. What time did you get on, Joe? I think he's already left. That's okay. Take a look here. And I have the beautiful Karina coming to me from Greece. Say hello, Greece.
Hi, Yasu, Yasu.
Yasu, beautiful. All right, let me see here. Okay, so we are here on Facebook, and I just blasted that out. So I went ahead, and we have Naomi Elizabeth Harvey and a few others here, so I want to send a shout out to them. At 12 o'clock noon, we just had C.L. Schneider from 11 to 12. She entertained us, and she has giveaways that she's posted here. Every author does about 2 to 4 giveaways during an hour posting, so it is definitely worth time stopping in at Facebook at the events. We also have Held Out running, and for every author, for every hour, there are 2 to 4 giveaways, so it is insane. To win giveaways, usually it's post something funny, caption something funny. It can get crazy. And I have to talk about the little thing I put together. You're going to love this, Karina. I'm looking at Facebook, so let me just get you on the video now. So on Wednesday, I had an idea, and I needed to put together something. And I was preparing my Facebook posts, and I was just coming up with the same old stuff, and I was getting annoyed with it. So instead, I did a Choose Your Own Adventure giveaway tour that I built, and it's 6 optional paths. Or I'm sorry, 9 optional paths with 6 different endings, depending upon what you decide to do with the story. And the reader, when you take this, you actually enter the story, and you are a character in it. And you have to choose sides, you have to choose actions, it's crazy. But there are hidden chests throughout your journey, and you have to open the chests, and that's your giveaway. So that's running as well. That was my big to-do. So back over to Facebook.
You said you come up with this on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, yes. It took me 2 days to build.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy. Like it was just a wonderful. Here's my notes. Do you see this? This is my note where I was writing out the paths and the options and all the links for it. The same day I decided, oh, well, I'm going to take them to a page where I show them my book trailers, because while you take the tour, you also get my bio, you get my books, my blurbs, everything. So it's insane. It's really insane. And while all this is going on, as people submit information, it's being taken over to MailChimp, so I have their information. So on April 11th, I'm going to be doing nothing but awarding winners, shipping out information, because I didn't have enough to do. So after myself, we have Angela Myron coming on at 1 o'clock, and her time is now. So I'm going to post a welcome, Myron, and then I'm going to settle in with you, Karina. See here. All right. Is that somebody? Okay. All right, so I'm done with Facebook. So how are you, Karina?
Okay, yeah, I've been sitting here since the morning. What was it? Joe told me about it, but I'd never heard of it before.
Mm-hmm.
And I never saw it on Goodreads.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really know anything what was going on and about the booths and the fair and nothing until I actually came live on this on this chat now that I really found out what was going on. It's amazing. It's mad. It's crazy. Do you know actually how many people are taking part?
Yes, 700. Let me go over to the stats now. The stats. Let's see here. All right, pulling up the link now so I can take a look here. We are totaling. I'm trying to find it. I don't know. Oh, there it is. 739 people now. Whew, I think we're going to hit 800. I really do. And it's funny because I projected 600. Now, we more than quadrupled our numbers from 160. That's the story I was telling you before I had to bow out and do some more Facebook work. So I'm going to go over how this all... I was in a group, and we were... Marketing is my thing. I absolutely adore marketing. To the point where it's dangerous for me because I could too easily do more marketing than I could write. So I have to pace myself with the marketing. I don't hold back for the cyber convention, though. So I got this idea to do a blog tour, and I wanted to do more than the blog tour. Blog tours at that point in my life were very difficult, and I found out for authors, they are very difficult to put together because we have a massive shortage of bloggers. So I started making arrangements, and by the end of that first day, I decided to go more than just a blog tour. I wanted just much more. I wanted a convention, and that's when I had this vision. It was just, I'm like, yeah, we could do this. We could put it over on Goodreads. It will handle the people load, and we could tie in events. People could synchronize blog tours. They could synchronize book releases. I decided April because April is the top book performing sales month of the entire year, every year. So I'm like, well, a lot of people are doing their book releases anyway. Let's just sync this with April. So I blasted it out, and I got a feedback of 160 people. We forgot to invite the readers, as I said before, so it was 160 writers selling to 160 writers, the same 160. But by the end of that convention last year, we all walked away going, this can be something. So we blasted it out. January of this year, I went back, and I was expecting 500. But within the first week, I saw the feedback that came back, and I predicted 600. I said, okay, I think we're going to hit 600. And when I did the math and broke it down, we were looking at quadrupling our numbers. Now, if 160 can turn this into more than quadrupling at, what do we have it in, 739, almost 750, then what can 750 people do with it? So with that being said, I am projecting probably 5,000 people next year. So I want to puke. I'm just right. I don't know what I'm going to do because it's me, and then I've got a team of 4 people under me, Joe being one of them, and Aurelia, Cece, and these are all just authors with ideas with volunteering. And then we have the authors, the 308 authors underneath us. And I'm not supposed to think about next year, but this is definitely, and this is the beautiful thing about this cyber convention that you don't see with others, is it's free. There's no, it literally just requires you to take the time to sit down and just plug in. And it's just amazing. It really is. I have messages coming in from people, so give me a minute here. And that's the other, yeah, it's astounding. I'm going to puke now. So we were having an issue with the giveaways, and it looks like they are now fixed. Let's see here. So we are running some massive, I'm going to go ahead and talk about what's going on over at Goodreads. We have a lot of amazing stuff going on. One of the things that we have in place is the Goodreads giveaways. I'm sorry, they are not Goodreads giveaways. They are jackpot giveaways. These are books that are donated by the authors, and the donations are amazing. We have 6 genres. I think the fantasy genre alone has 26 books in it, but those books are going to one winner. 6 different genres, 6 different winners. The winner of each, one winner will be announced per genre, and all the books listed in that group is going to one person. So to enter, you're going to Goodreads, and you're going to want to type in just Brain to Books or Brain to Books Cyber Convention or B2B SciCon. It will take you right to where you need to be under Fairgrounds. There, you'll find a backstage, but you're going to want to go into Fairgrounds. And then you're going to go through and locate jackpot giveaways. All the signs are all the links are available on my site, AngelaBChrysler.com. And let me just take a quick look here. They should be all up and working now. So I'm going to go through and blast that out. Working now. I think next year I'm not going to be able to participate. I think I'm going to have to do full management. And so now you're on
No, but this is
island.
great because people are seeing how everything works behind the scenes.
Yeah, I guess they
So
are.
I think this is amazing. This is a way to do it. Not when you saying I'm not going to take part. I'm just going to be management. It's
All
you
right.
doing this and taking part. It is the best way for people to see.
All right, I guess. I mean, I love this. I wasn't planning on being on at all. I have scheduled times with Joe, and I was planning on hopping in and out periodically. But I'm loving this. I'm like, oh, and I'm not plugged into the conversation at all times. There does have to be somebody on because I can't drop the ball. But that's okay. I like to juggle. So, and I see a few, yeah. So, and I have a panel discussion, I think, at 2 o'clock. I'm waiting for Matthew William Harrell. Let me explain who Matthew William Harrell is. And I've talked about him a lot because I very much respect him in a very weird way. Writers are very fond of writers groups. We need them. There's something very primitive about them that we are drawn to hear and to feel that closeness with others who are having the same hardships as we are. And there's so much about writing that does experience hardships. So I collect people in a very slughorn kind of way. If I like somebody, I collect them. And I started collecting my people in a group on Twitter called the Slush Brain. It's a cyber boat, a ship, my ship. I am the captain. And I started gathering my favorite people and putting them on this ship. Which I entitled the HMS Slush Brain. And we've been through, most of the crew member are still there who joined us a year ago. We've had a couple people come in and then drop out. We have a couple people who can't be as active as they want to be. But there are, and you'll actually see this on my booth, we have the HMS Slush Brain giveaway tour through Goodreads. So you can actually click on my booth and then there's a link that takes you to the next Slush Brain member. Matthew William Harrell was brought in by C.L. Schneider, and C.L. Schneider and I are like, we are author sisters. She and I both have an appearance in 2 weeks at another convention in Saratoga. So I will be meeting her for the first time. Once Matt gets on, he is in England, and he is on a bus last we knew, then I will actually be meeting him for the first time here. So I am jumping out of my skin right now because I'll finally be able to meet him. But I got a message from Cindy, C.L. Schneider, saying, I've got this person, he'd make a great slush bringer. And I'm like, okay, bring him in, I trust you. I wish I hadn't. The character that came in, the character, you'll see it, it's scary. I don't know what to make of this person. Every now and then, look, I just, there's so much I could say about Matt, and I started putting together a story called Zombies from Space. I'm going to say that again because it just deserves it. Zombies from Space and Vampires. That's the title of my story that I'm working on. And I deemed all the characters on the Slush Brain as characters in the story that I'm writing on my blog. And Matt, I reached out to my slush bringers and said, okay guys, select who you want to be, make your character, go wild. So I had some people coming back saying, I want to be a vampire, I want to be a zombie. And the zombies don't really talk, so the person, Matthew Weech, who said I wanted to be a zombie, I named the entire alien zombie race Weeches. So we are attacked by Weeches. When Matthew William Harrell's turn came up, and I said, what do you want to be in this story? He responded, I took him literally, with, I want to be wearing a garlic-smelling, soaked loincloth with boots and nothing else. And I said, okay. So I added him to the story. He makes his debut on, I think, chapter 6, wearing nothing but this garlic and saturated loincloth and boots. And that really summarizes Matt, perfectly as to what you're about to get. And so, yeah. This is, yeah, craziness. I think that's just a good summary of what it is. So, you can check out Zombies from Space and Vampires on my website under blog novels. It is free. It's just something I'm throwing together. It is my mediocre hobby writing, as I like to say it. So we're going to go ahead and see what we can do. Let me go ahead and take a little tour here. I'm going to hit all the features now around the, and do like a coming to you live from, let me see what we have here. We have on Goodreads, it looks like, just pulling it up now to see what's going on in the fairgrounds. I see a lot of activity in the fairgrounds. This is where authors have accumulated their booths. A booth is a term I coined for this occasion, where authors come in and they can sit down and set up a kind of display or a table. Because this is all online, there is no real table. So if you've been to a convention, you have an idea what I'm talking about. If you aren't familiar what a convention is, I'll go through this. A convention is, the most famous is Comic-Con, which is a massive celebrate your inner nerd or very loud outer nerd convention. This is the annual meeting where most of the cast from Star Trek meets. People come dressed as Worf and Spock. This is where people who dress up, women who dress up like Leia, and a few men dress up like Leia and from Star Wars, and they come in. There's Chewbacca is walking around. Did I say that right, Chewbacca? I hope so. And all these anime. There's comic book lovers, and comic books really are the focus. Marvel and DC comics. And they come in, there's a massive warehouse, and they sell tables to you either are there by invitation. In Leonard Nimoy's case, he was always invited by invitation. And then you had others, authors, anything relating to science fiction or the nerd genre. Gamers, celebrities involved with that, they would purchase tables and come and set up a display. Patrick Rothfuss, the fantasy, and this is a traditional New York best-selling author. I'm going to throw that out here. He usually appears at the conventions. Will Wheaton is there. So it's a huge event. And the cast from Big Bang Theory, that is huge. So Comic-Con is this massive warehouse where you can buy tickets to. They sell it within 5 minutes every year. It's very difficult to get tickets. And you can walk through, get signatures, collect things. There's freebies. You can get discounts on sales. It is huge. And after that's Comic-Con. And then there's other conventions. There's writers' conventions, book expos. The list goes on. So this is a cyber convention where instead of having up tables, because we can't literally put tables on the internet, we are having discussion threads, and each discussion thread represents what would have been our table. So that's pretty much how the system works. Did we lose Joe? I think we lost Joe.
Yeah, it looks like it's gone completely.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think the host could. So I'm gonna message Matthew here and figure out where he is and give him the angry eyes. Let me see here, because I know he's on Facebook. The angry eyes. So Karina, tell me what genre and what books you write. I haven't been able to plug in as much as I'd want. So what books do you write?
I have 8 books. I started off writing urban thriller, which after reading S.E. Hinton's The Outsiders, I wrote my first book, In Times of Violence, which is an urban thriller. It's basically about teenagers that just don't fit in society, that just don't feel loved, that want respect and want to find a family, and they find it in this group of not so well-behaved kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like with the Outsiders, you've got the greasers and the Soch. Well, the tyrants are the gang or group, if you want to call them that, in times of violence, and then you have the Vipers, which are the which would have played the Soc if it was. That's the only similarities between the two, but it was because of the Outsiders that I wrote in times of violence. And then after that came Lawless Justice, which is a vigilante thriller. This one, there've been so many books out about the male motorcycle gangs, the motorcycle clubs, outlaw clubs, and I thought, well, why not have just a woman's one? Why not just women?
Interesting.
I mean, yeah, women that kick ass, you know, yay! So for them to be able to get away with kicking ass, they actually became vigilantes. So we have very strong, smart women in this motorcycle club that work during the day in big